So we can get started. Welcome to our December meeting of the State Board of Education. Today is December 18th, 2025. It is now 10:01 a.m. We are in the fourth floor boardroom of the Central High School building in downtown Jackson, Mississippi. Everyone, if you have your cell phone and is not on silent, I would ask that you do so. And secondly, remind everybody that we are being live streamed. I'm going to call our meeting to order. I've asked Dr. McGehee to lead us in the pledge and Ms. Stroud to lead our invocation.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father, we praise you and we give you thanks today for the many blessings that you have given to each and every one of us. And today we ask for your guidance as we begin this meeting so that decisions can be made, intentional conversations can be had that ensure the success of every student, teacher, administrator, and leaders in education in this great state. We ask this in his name and your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Our first item is to approve the minutes from our November 20th, 2025 board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Werner on the motion, Mr. East on the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Next is to approve our agenda. Do we have any deletions or additions to the agenda?
Does this include the consent agenda?
That's the next one.
Okay, I
So,
didn't see it.
anyone have anything to add to our regular agenda or delete? All right. Then, are there any items that we need to pull off the consent agenda to put on the regular agenda?
I would. Item X.7.K, involving the updating of the internal audit charter.
You said 7K?
I think that's what,
Yep, I got it.
X7.K, is that it?
Got you.
It just went on yesterday morning.
Hang on a second. Okay. Got you. All right. So Mr. Jacobs has made a motion to move item 7K from the consent agenda to the regular agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that will move on to our regular agenda. Now, I need a with that addition, I need a motion to approve our agenda. So moved. Mr. Mayo? Do I have a second. Dr. McGehee, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Now, the best part of the meeting, our recognition ceremony.
Good morning, Mr. Miller, Dr. Evans, and State Board members. Today we are recognizing the inaugural Mississippi Blue Ribbon Schools. This is a new recognition that replaces the National Blue Ribbon Schools program, which the U.S. Department of Education terminated this fall. For more than 4 decades, the Blue Ribbon Schools program has honored and celebrated the nation's top performing schools. The Mississippi Blue Ribbon School designation uses the same criteria for selection as the national program. Schools can be recognized in one of 2 categories or both categories. The first category is exemplary high-performing schools. Schools in this category are among the state's highest performing as measured by state assessments or nationally normed tests. The second category is exemplary achievement gap closing schools. Schools in this category are among the state's highest performing schools in closing achievement gaps between a school's student groups and all students. Just like the national recognition, we are providing the Mississippi Blue Ribbon Schools with a special plaque and a blue ribbon flag to fly on the school's flagpole. Governor Tate Reeves also issued a proclamation for each of Mississippi's inaugural Blue Ribbon Schools, and the schools will be receiving all 3 of those today. The first school we are recognizing is Bayou View Elementary School in the Gulfport School District. At this time, I would like to invite Principal Tess Lawrence to join Mr. Miller and Dr. Evans at the front of the boardroom. And you can bring your team if you'd like. Yes, sir. Mhm. Sure. All right. Okay.
First, I wanted to thank MDE for recognizing Blue Ribbon Schools. We appreciate that so much. This pushes Mississippi forward, and we appreciate your forward thinking. And I am only accepting this because I am a principal of a phenomenal staff, and so I'm going to allow them to hold this. This is Dr. Laminda Hayes, my assistant principal. She is my wingman, and of course, we wouldn't have been able to do this without our team of leaders here. And if you know elementary schools, you know they're going to line up by grade level before you even ask them. So we do have our third grade superstars here. I have Mandy Gunter and her daughter Haley Gunter, who now she's blazing that torch in education in Mississippi. I have Mackenzie Louder. She's one of our new ones who has been so successful. Actually she started in December, right out of the gate. And then I have fifth grade, so Tammy Parker, and she's a leader in ELA. I have Laura Clay, and she teaches a remarkable class called Law-Related Reading, and that's part of our pride here at Bayou View Elementary. And then Nicole Estes, who teaches our math. And our students are led by teachers in special education, and we call them our exceptional learners and our exceptional teachers. And of course, they could not be here today because they are providing all the accommodations that our students need on their DCAs. But we are just so proud and honored to receive this award. These amazing individuals, they give up their lives to pour into the hearts and minds of our youngest learners. And I am just so definitely proud of them. They deserve every bit of this recognition. And just to stand in front of you today, a few of them were here how many years ago? And this is just remarkable that
This is your 34th round.
yeah, it's remarkable for our state that we really have some fabulous educators, and they stand out in the nation. And I wanted to thank all of you for them, and they're the leaders of Mississippi. Thank you.
Hold on. Ms. Lawrence, hold on. I want to read a few accomplishments before you sit down, a few accomplishments from your school. That's okay. No, it's great. It's great. Okay, I just want to give a few more accolades. So, Bayou View Elementary School has achieved the Mississippi Blue Ribbon School status because it is both an exemplary high-performing school and an exemplary achievement gap closing school. So they were awarded in both categories. And the school is the largest of 7 elementary schools in the Gulfport School District, serving nearly 700 students in grades K through 5. The A-rated school community reflects a blend of academic rigor, cultural enrichment, and strong family involvement. Notable accomplishments include 100% proficiency on the 3rd grade reading assessment for multiple years, steady gains in state accountability scores, top science scores, and multiple PREPS value-added awards in language arts and mathematics. And the school gives credit for much of its success to its highly engaged parents and strong community support. The school's commitment to nurturing the whole child academically, socially, emotionally continues to make Bayou View a model of excellence for our state. So congratulations, Bayou View. Thank you.
He said, please keep it up and go over time. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
The biggest portion
All right.
might be this room there.
All right.
You have to go to cheers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The next 2 Mississippi Blue Ribbon schools are recognized as exemplary high-performing schools. And first, we will spotlight Beach Elementary School in the Pascagoula-Gaucher School District. And at this time, I invite Principal Jennifer Jones to join Mr. Miller and Dr. Evans at the front of the boardroom. Okay, you're welcome to bring your team. Okay. Beach Elementary School is known for its educational excellence and community commitment. The school has consistently earned an A rating and is one of the top elementary schools in the state. Beach Elementary has been honored as an emerging science of reading school for 2 consecutive years, a distinction awarded to schools that implement evidence-based reading instruction. The school has a 100% pass rate on the 3rd grade reading assessment and a 229-point growth in kindergarten reading scores from fall to spring. The school emphasizes a holistic approach to education, which includes academic achievement, a nurturing and inclusive environment, and a culture of continuous improvement. And Ms. Jones, you're welcome to make remarks at this time.
I did not have a prepared speech. However, this is my first year at Beach Elementary, so I share this honor with the former principal, Bridget Anderson. And this is our 4th grade teacher, Jenna Sims, and our 3rd grade teacher, Brittany Murray. So if Ms. Bridget would like to speak, I welcome her.
I also did not come prepared with remarks, but I can tell you, these 2 ladies, along with the rest of the teachers at Beach Elementary, work so hard and give everything they have to the students there. And I mean, we're talking from planning after-school events to, making sure they meet each and every student's needs. So they deserve, definitely, this is their work for working so hard.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do.
Right. The 3rd Mississippi Blue Ribbon School for 2025 is Ocean Springs High School in the Ocean Springs School District. And at this time, I'd like to invite Principal Dr. Jacob Dykes and his team to join Mr. Miller and Dr. Evans at the front of the boardroom. Ocean Springs High School is widely recognized for its commitment to academic excellence, innovative teaching, and a well-rounded school student development. As one of Mississippi's top-performing high schools, it consistently demonstrates achievement in state and national assessments, advanced placement programs, and college readiness measures. Ocean Spring High School's accomplishments extend beyond academics. It has award-winning fine arts programs, championship athletic teams, and active student organizations. Community involvement is also a hallmark. The school partners closely with families and local organizations to prepare students to be engaged citizens and future leaders. Ocean Spring High School's culture of high expectations and strong support system ensure that every student has the tools to succeed. Dr. Dykes, you're welcome to make remarks at this time.
Absolutely. First and foremost, thank you, MDE, for taking this time to recognize us, and congratulations to the other 2 schools. I know this is to us, this is a state championship. So we're celebrating. We've celebrated with our students, our community. Really excited. So thank you for taking the time to recognize the schools. And also thank God for the many blessings we have. Mr. Lindsay, our superintendent, couldn't do this without him. Huge support of the schools, especially the principal. So we appreciate all the things that he drives. Dr. Vicki Timberlake, who's now our school board president, but sat in my seat for many years, really laying the foundation for the crops that we're yielding now. Also, Mr. Justin Sutton, one of our assistant superintendent. He was at Ocean Springs for many years, again, helping lay the foundation, and then we're able to steal him back. So we're excited to have him. And then Maui Ariaga, one of our assistant principals at the school. If you know anything, we have great leadership. and she's a huge part of why we're here. Also, shout out to Dr. Laminda Hayes, who we let Gulfport borrow. Very, very blessed to have the leadership in our schools. And like you said, the community this is their award. They do everything. What gives us opportunity to be on the state stage, the national stage, is our parents, our community. They volunteer countless hours to make sure their students are successful. So again, thank you for all that you do to help the students of our community and this great state.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on our agenda is the report of the superintendent. Dr. Evans.
Okay, safe travels back, everybody. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. We have had a busy month. Yesterday, actually, we've had a couple legislative meetings, but over the past month, what we've done is we've set up these meetings with lawmakers in order to discuss MDE's priorities for the 2026 legislative session. The most recent meeting was yesterday with House Ed Committee Vice Chair Kent McCarty, as well as Senior Policy Advisor Cole Butler and the House Attorney yesterday to discuss those priorities. Also, earlier this week, we had a meeting with Senator Nicole Boyd on the other side. So it was very positive. They're very optimistic. And I feel as though they're in line with our priorities. Of course, the session hadn't kicked off, so we feel good at the beginning, and then we'll see how we feel after a month or two. So we are very lucky to have the support that we had. I was being funny there. We are very, very lucky to have that support there. I consider our lawmakers a friend of MDE. We're very lucky because most states don't have that. They don't have that relationship. Ms. Spivey and I also met with Commissioner Sean Tindall. Actually, it was yesterday as well, about the driver's ed bill. You know, it was put into place a couple of years ago, and it's coming to fruition now for all of our schools to offer driver's education. So just some of the final planning meetings, you have actually already adopted a curriculum with that. There's another curriculum that will be for private instructors that we'll have to, as a vet, as a department, and then the board will have to approve. So well on the way there. Had a meeting with Mississippi First, met with that organization's leadership, discussed their priorities, and saw how those align with MDE's. And we do know they're a very strong supporter of early childhood education with MDE for many, many, many years. So we value the relationship we have with them. Had a meeting with Delta Streets Academy. Met with the head of that academy about opportunities to support students in failing schools in the Mississippi Delta. We're taking an aggressive approach to try to help the schools and students there. What we've been doing is we've seen mixed results over the years, we know. And in some cases, we absolutely have not received the results that we would like to receive. So we're taking a different approach. It's one of those deals where we're going to do what we got to do to make sure people are successful. I know I didn't say that very eloquently, but that's the bottom line. At the end of the day, that's what we're charged with doing. And we know Delta Streets Academy was founded as an after-school program more than a decade ago that is now a privately funded school for boys in grades 4 through 12. Also attended a conference. It was the ECS Winter Commissioners Conference. The topics in the conference, or the workshop, if you will, they were very timely, and I felt like they were in line with some of the providing information that we needed here in our state. It revolved around workforce readiness, post-secondary achievement, new teacher retention models, as well as supporting early childhood educators and expanding math pathways, which that we're asking for an appropriation for a specific mathematics program, and that was very timely there. We've also received support from ECS. It's one of the national organizations, just like Excel and Ed, and as far as our national branches that support state superintendents. Had some media interviews as well. Had several
local and national interviews over the course of the last month. From a national standpoint, met with the New York Times. We actually did an interview with them a couple of months back, but they actually were in the state. They had a reporter here, an educational reporter who traveled to Mississippi to spend a day at a literacy support school and meet with other MDE leaders in that literacy support school. The story there was the focus of the story was the literacy and the accountability system that we have in our state and how it how it has helped drive the gains that we've made. I do want to say publicly, lots of times you see in other states where they have gotten to the point to where we currently are academically, they have either not increased academic expectations or standards, if you will, and in some cases they've decreased them. We didn't do that, we doubled down, and we've increased ours, which is like a perfect example of how Mississippi are. We're hard-headed and we just want to keep pushing forward and do what's best for our students and our state. So I appreciate that, and we've received a lot of national attention for that. Every time I'm anywhere, people come up and they pat me on the back and they're like, "Thank you for continuing." I'm like, it's not just me, right? I'm just one person in it. It's our superintendents, it's our state, it's our state board. So that hard work is being acknowledged by other states. And then they're trying to follow suit. And we're definitely trying to outrun them. That's how that works. So I also had another national news interview was with ABC News. They also traveled to Mississippi to visit 2 schools in the metro area and interview our state literacy director, Dr. Malone. And again, it was the focus of those interviews was on literacy. And that story is set to broadcast at some point in time in January. So it'll be coming up. Had a couple Mississippi-based or local interviews, if you will. And it was on Super Talk Radio as well as WLBT about MDE's legislative priorities. Getting those out to the masses, to the general public. Also was interviewed by Mississippi Today and WTVA, which WTVA is in Tupelo. Of course, we know Mississippi Today is based out of here in Jackson. On our takeover, if you will, of the Okolona School District. I shared with them basically where we were, and we knew we had to move fast. We had already, as you know, because you were there at the board meeting, you approved up to not to exceed $3 million to help get that district back to where they could financially stand up. And we put half of that in, and we knew we had to do something immediately. So we did end up, unfortunately, to no fault of the teacher, we did end up having to institute a RIF, and we RIF'd 19 staff members there. They were severely overstaffed. So that total district personnel went from 105 to 86, 85, 86. I believe it's 86, yeah, that's the 19. So one of the things I want to say that was very important to me is, I'm very convicted by doing the right thing by people. That's a huge, huge deal for me. And what we did is we took in about an hour and a half radius of Okolona, we took every district and pulled their openings. Then we took the teachers that were going to be affected by the RIF, and we took their certifications, aligned them to the openings they had in the districts, personally called the superintendents to tell them, hey, we have these teachers with these certifications, and we know you have these openings if you still have them. And 3 districts have already reached out and are setting up interviews, and I think there's a strong chance that the certified teachers that were involved in it, I think there's a really strong chance that most of them will have a job. And that's not an approach that's really been taken in the past by the department, but and we may not always be able to do that, but anytime we can, we want to be able to do that. Because again, that was absolutely no fault of the teacher. So, and I also appreciate WTVA for reaching out, because they gave us the opportunity here to set the record straight, if you will, because too many people live in the world of Facebook news, just to be completely blunt, and there was a lot of that spinning, and it was inaccurate. So I truly appreciate them giving us the opportunity to do that. And so next item here, beginning in January of 2026, we're proud to introduce a new way to celebrate both our nation and the arts programs that we have in our state. Our state board meetings will open with a recorded performance of the national anthem by one of Mississippi's top honor choirs. This will take place before the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. This is something that Lemuel Eubanks has been working on, and I want him to come. If you would come, he is nervous. I say as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. But he is wonderful, and I want him to give you some information because he's the one that I like taking the people who've done the work and have them present it. I think that's important. So, thank you, sir.
Dr. Evans, Mr. Miller, board members, thank you all so much for this opportunity to share and showcase our talented students across the state, the arts as part of being well-rounded. And so this opportunity to showcase our students. So the honor choirs are going to be recording the recordings, and they are being selected based on their earning superior ratings and performing at state and regional conferences, and being part of the all-star honor choirs across our state. So any school district or school that has honor choirs that are part of the state conferences and things has an opportunity to perform. And so we hope that this will be an ongoing and rotating opportunity for our students. But I also want to thank Dr. Hannah Audrey. She is at Oxford High School, and she's been there for about 11 years. She also is a National Board Certified Teacher. She was the Mississippi Teacher of the Year in 2019, and she currently serves on our MDE Teacher Advisory Council. So it's a great partnership with the state agency, MDE, and our school districts, and showcasing our students and the great work that's happening. So thank you all for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. I just think this is a wonderful way to shine a very positive light on our arts programming across the state. In my previous district, the arts programming was huge there. Many, many, many students were part of it. So it's easy to showcase our athletic abilities across the state, right, on the stage, and this is just a way to be able to do that. So I appreciate that work. Finally, Dr. Sanja Robertson, she is leaving us, not to go somewhere else, though, because I would be very mad at her if she was doing that. She hasn't told me she's doing that, so she doesn't need to. She is retiring, and I always remind our people, our good ones, right, that 90 days, and hopefully if the legislation changes like we're asking 30 days, we can get you back if you're willing, and we will sure take you because she does an outstanding job. Not just an outstanding, she's a wonderful human, right? So there's a correlation between great people and the work that they do. So just a little bit of information though. She will be retiring December the 31st. She has served for 10 years at MDE, but a total of 35 years of service in education. So I want to give her a round of applause. Just a couple other pieces. She literally has built the Office of School Improvement, as well as a system of coaching support that we utilize now in our state, and has truly made a statewide impact. So I appreciate her tremendously, and I did not tell her that I was going to ask her if she wanted to stand up and say something, but I am absolutely going to ask her if she will stand up and say something, because after 35 years, you deserve the right to stand up and take some time, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Evans, to the board. I was talking with someone on a meeting this morning. We were doing a debrief about some work that we do with the RCU, and I shared with her that I was retiring, and I said, I started in 1991. She said, Dr. Robertson, I was born in 1991. This has really been a wonderful, wonderful experience here at the MDE. I think we kind of go through our professional life as educators, and we start in the classroom, and sometimes we start in other places, but I started in the classroom. And I don't know that I thought I would end up here when I started in the classroom. It's really been a true experience to see this work from this lens. People don't know, right? You just don't know what you don't know. And over these past 10 years, I've had an opportunity to engage with schools and districts in a way that is just different, because I'm having a conversation about something that they're not happy to see me about or happy to talk to me about, but having to communicate that information in a way that really is about how can we support and what can we do better and how can we strengthen whatever it is we're doing makes a true difference. And so I've always been encouraged to move in a space of professionalism, and that's really how I've guided my career. And so I never want to leave a space or leave a table where someone feels like they've been, denigrated or beat up on after I've left their space. It's all about how I might support and how I might help. And so I feel like the Department of Education has given me the space to be able to do that over the past 10 years. Now, there have been some growth spurts, of course, but it has been a true blessing to be able to do this work. One of the other pieces that I will most definitely appreciate is about the people in the space that are doing the work. They are carrying a huge burden to implement policy around whatever buckets of work they have. And to be able to do that and partner in such a way, and to have that encouraged, is really, really an important thing and an impactful thing. And so again, I'm not going home to sit and be idle, but I tell people now I want to command my day, right? And so since 1991, my day has been governed from a 8 to 5, 5 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week kind of thing. And so to be able to own my time and own some of my time is something that I'm looking forward to. But you're right, Dr. Evans, I'll be looking for opportunities at some point, but I'm gonna take a break first. Because I'm going on a cruise. So I'm starting there. But I am looking forward to what retirement service can look like. And so excited about this opportunity and this shift, but very, very thankful for the experience that I've been able to have, not only here at the MDE, but over these past 35 years. So thank you.
Very good, thank you. My report, very simple. Yesterday, we had our biannual board training, Paulo de Maria with the National Association of State School Boards, or State Boards of Education led that for us. And we also got an update on the progress of the revising of our strategic plan, which we are required to do. We've got some valuable information with that, and we are on track to make those revisions according to the timeline that we have set forth. So, next are the reports of our student representatives. Crosby is going to speak to us about his mentorship program and then passing the legacy on, I think is the best way to say it.
So this week has been pretty crazy. I got accepted into college Tuesday. I'll be going to MIT in the fall. So that was a big dream, and I'm excited to get started on that. But before then, in Gulfport, we have our third mentorship program that we're starting up between Gulfport High and Central Elementary. We're building on the success and growth of our previous programs, and this new group continues our mission to support students by strengthening their academic performance, social development, and overall confidence. And what I'm wanting to do as I transition is I want to leave here at MDE. Next meeting, I plan to bring a set of binders that'll have the checklist that goes into these mentorship programs, how to create them, how to manage them. And so I'm committing to that this meeting. The next meeting, I will bring those. And so I want to, if any of y'all have anything that y'all would like to have included in the binders that y'all think will, I don't know, help it run smoother with the presentations, or what y'all think needs to be said about the programs, if y'all could email me so that I could get to work on putting that project together. So far, they're going to include program structure and recommended timelines, mentor-mentee selection processes, training outlines for mentors, tracking and evaluation forms for the mentees, best practices, common challenges, and effective solutions, and then real concrete examples from our present cohorts that we have in Gulfport. So my goal is to give schools a base model that can be adapted to their individual needs while preserving the core elements that make these programs successful, because we've had real success stories over the last 2 years, and I would love to just grow it as far as it will go. And I look forward to presenting this resource at our next meeting and receiving your feedback as we take these next steps. So any feedback that y'all have, anything that y'all specifically want to hear outside of what I just mentioned, just send me an email and I'll put them together and I'll bring them to the next meeting. So thank you all.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
We're topsiders up there.
You're gonna love Boston.
I'm excited.
Actually, it's Cambridge, but you're gonna love it anyway.
Next, our junior representative, Michelle, is going to give us her thoughts about her experience so far as the junior representative. Michelle?
This meeting being the last one of the year, I kind of just wanted to reflect on some of the wonderful experiences and opportunities I've had serving as a junior representative. So over the past couple of months, I've had the opportunity to attend several online meetings, and I was able to gain so many wonderful connections and insights. So at the beginning of serving as student representative, I attended the NASB Star Conference, where I was able to collaborate with other student representatives across the nation and address the growing issue of student substance use and addiction. So we kind of just focused on that part, and our vision was creating a safer and more supportive school environment where students battling addiction could access help without fear. We advocated for volunteer peer-led support groups, and we aimed to provide recovery resources and emotional support for effective students. And we created a resolution, and then we were able to present it to a panel of professionals and leaders, and we were able to gain very valuable feedback. And then I was also able to attend the NASB New Members Student Institute, where this was the second virtual training with the new student board members, and I got to hear from Mr. Joshua Michael, the president of the Maryland State Board of Education. And so he shared his work and what he does on the national level in education policy, and then I also got an overview of the past and current federal policy trends. And one of the most exciting parts of this conference was being able to speak with former student representatives and hear about their experiences serving on their respective boards. And so I had the opportunity to ask them questions about the challenges they faced and the strategies to help them succeed in their roles. And so I heard representatives from states like Massachusetts, California, Pennsylvania, and I also got to meet a former Mississippian because I realized that she was from, I think it was Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and it was just crazy because she's now living in Boston, I think. So these national conferences were super insightful and rewarding, and I was able to connect with so many passionate student representatives and leaders from across the country who shared the common goal of helping improve education and student well-being. And so through these conversations and collaborations, I was able to gain valuable perspectives on how student voices can truly shape change. And I also look forward to attending the upcoming NASB Roundtable in January. And in addition to these national conferences, I think that one of the most impactful experiences I've had is simply just attending these monthly state board meetings, because it really has given me the chance to learn things that I would never have gotten to otherwise. I'm able to understand a broader landscape of education in Mississippi and everything from upcoming initiatives to how students are performing across different areas. And so listening to the board's discussions has given me a great, clearer understanding of how decisions are made and how policies can impact students. And so I look forward to the upcoming year and to the many meetings ahead.
Okay, we had two subcommittees that met this month. First, the Internal Accountability Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The internal accountability met on last Thursday, December 11th. A couple of action items. We have approved the appointment of the ad hoc committee for screening the junior student representative. Appreciate Ms. Sherry for the work that she did to put that together. Those applications have been released as of December 8th with a due date of January 30th. The subcommittee approved committee members of myself, Lemuel Eubanks, Office of Secondary Education, Mr. Chris Norwood, Office of School Improvement, Dr. Seymour, Office of Educator Accountability, and then Dr. Courtney Van Cleve, Office of Educator Effectiveness. We will work through that series. March will do the video screenings to narrow it down to the semifinalists, which we'll look at in May of 2026. And then we will have them for board meeting for appointment shortly thereafter. The other items of business had brief updates regarding work from program evaluation around early childhood and classroom visitation. We did talk about a few things related to internal audit, including subrecipient monitoring process that we'll discuss later in this meeting. In the previous meeting, we'd approved a internal audit charter to recommend to the full board, which again will be discussed a little bit further. And then had a conversation around a couple of board policies that we also will have to consider revisions to recommend for approval by the board in one of the next few upcoming meetings.
Thank you. Let's see, the other committee was the Workforce, Career, and Technical Education Subcommittee. Ms. Werner.
We had, I would say, an incredible meeting. It was exciting. There's a lot going on. And when everything gets completed, they're going to come back and they're going to present it to you guys. But in the interim, I made a few notes. They have completed grades K through 5 on the workforce plan, and they're building out the rest 6 through 8. This plan focuses, and it is so exciting when you think of this. It focuses on the integration of workforce skills with the existing instructional procedures. So, and I, having been a teacher long ago in Cambridge, one of the things, if somebody says, I got one more, Dr. Barrett, I have something else that I want to add to your list. Oh, you're like, I've got my list up to here with things I need to do. So what this program does, Brett Robinson and his group, they've integrated the fact of taking this workforce and putting it into seamlessly to what you already teach. So there's no more extra work. You just have to be aware of what it is that you're doing. I found that absolutely fabulous. Now, they've also completed the crosswalk of the ELA, English language, and the math. I finally figured out what HQIM means. High quality instructional material. I've often wondered if there's a low quality instructional material. Question. But anyway, they're getting these standards into the workforce. They're currently, and I say they're doing all the work. I just give, I sit there and I listen to all their input and then we turn it back to you. They're the workers. They're working, and this is exciting because think about getting our kids jobs when they get out of here and keeping them here. I mean, that's the big thing. We don't want them all going off to MIT. However, my husband's MIT and we moved to Mississippi, so that tells you something.
Hey, I'm coming back.
So anyway, but there are 8 ecosystems in Mississippi. And they've identified the 8, and they've identified, like you really, for example, I don't think you want to teach shipbuilding in Tupelo. I mean, that's not going to work. So what they have done is they have started specific K through 12 workforce plans for these ecosystems. And this will ensure that each unique region of our state has a plan that's actually tailor-made to them. I think it's cool. So what they're doing is just absolute fabulous work. And you can feel the excitement of the people at the meeting today. I don't know, the other people on the board, Mike, anything else you guys want to add?
We've said this before, and you've heard me say it. There's nothing that impacts economic development more in this state than quality education, right? And that's what, I mean, that is an economic development driver in all of our communities. And what the CTE group is doing, this is what I'd like to see, and they've done a lot. And they said, well, we've got a presentation for things coming in the spring. I said, I've got an idea. Why don't you present what you're working on in the spring or earlier, and then present it later in the year when it's complete, and then you got 2 presentations. We will have seen it twice, just as a point of emphasis. And I know Dr. Evans is talking with a gentleman that had contacted me to speak to a civic group on the coast, and the guy is a former IHL board member, very well-known, well-placed in industry, and he had given Dr. Evans a couple of suggestions
for what he'd like to talk about. Number one, he wants to know about the MDE organization, what our goal is. The other is he wants to talk about where the big turnaround in state scores are, and then that's the accountability piece. And, you know, I would hope, and I would suggest to Dr. Evans just in this meeting, that we also begin to include our efforts and the importance of CTE anytime we as a group or any employee in this room or in this building has the opportunity to talk about the work that we do, because we are preparing these kids to enter the workforce to add to the economic development of the state of Mississippi. And that's the entire purpose. That was all, Mary. Was I allowed to say
No,
that?
that concludes my report. Anybody have any questions on that?
Mary, I'll say I too have tripped over HQI.
Speak up.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I'm sorry, Bill.
It took me a couple of years to
No,
figure
he
out
was saying he
that.
tripped over HQIM. Yeah. Because, you know, there were so many acronyms, and every job has a different set of acronyms. So those of us, we eventually learned them.
Thank y'all for that update. Next, we'll move into our regular agenda. The first item is a presentations by the Mississippi School of the Arts, Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science, and the Mississippi School for the Deaf and the Blind.
Ms. Mary, Ms. Warren, I will tell you, I've been in education 25 years when I came to this job, and their acronyms are different in this job than they are in a different. They're for like
That's true.
5 months, I was like, do not, write it out.
Give
Write
us
it
a
out,
break.
so I know what it means. So I'm not sitting there wondering. So I can't imagine coming from.
Well, good morning. I have the privilege today to introduce to you all our 3 state special school leaders, and they're going to share with you a little bit about their successes and challenges of the year thus far. So first up is Dr. Suzanne Hirsch from the Mississippi School of Arts.
Good morning. Thank you, Board, for having me today, Dr. Evans. Before I begin my presentation, I want to show you a brief little video that will just tell you a quick synopsis of who we are. Hopefully the volume works.
The Mississippi School of the Arts is a residential high school for Mississippi residents that are in the 11th and 12th grade. We're the only arts residential high school in the state. We have dance, creative writing, which we call literary. We have filmmaking, which we call media arts, theater, visual art, and vocal music.
It's an opportunity for creatives to be surrounded by other creatives and nurtured in their art. To be in that environment, to be, just seems to make students who are creative by nature just blossom.
The students come in, and when you give them something that is powerful for them and exciting for them, then we usually see academic pursuits increase as well. Our ACT score is one of the top 3 in the state. We have 100% graduation rate. Between 80 and 85% of the seniors that are graduating receive scholarships to go to college.
The experience has been transformative for my daughter. Her ACT score has risen, her leadership skills have blossomed. It's been the evolution of every aspect of her being.
To audition for us and to apply is in the 10th grade year for any Mississippi resident. They'll apply and submit a transcript, and then they start in their 11th and 12th grade years. It's a 2-year program of study, and when the students leave here, they are well ahead of their peers in college as well as any arts programs.
I'm a parent who I wanted to prepare my students for what was ahead. MSA is a huge baby step, if you will, in terms of the opportunity to be in a residential setting similar to a college. The school talks very heavily in terms of what they offer for both security and safety while students are here on campus. For me, I was all in.
It's really important to us that our students feel like they are part of a family here. And so we have a really rich experience for the students when they're here, not only on our campus, but off campus as well.
I would encourage parents to think about the growth of their child and what's best in their interest. It could not, for us, have been a better place to start.
We really want MSA not to be the peak of their life. We want it to be the beginning of a major journey that they're going to be successful and find happiness and fulfillment in.
that just gives you a good snapshot and hear from some of our parents and our teachers. Our mission at the Mississippi School of the Arts is to develop the next generation of artists by providing an innovative education in a residential environment for talented and creative Mississippi students. We were founded in 1999. Our first students didn't come to MSA until 2003. And we graduated our first graduating class just 20 years ago in 2005. So we are very young. We are fortunate to have a campus that sits in the heart of downtown Brookhaven, Mississippi, and it's a historic campus. It was once Whitworth College, a teacher's college, education for women, and now it houses the Mississippi School of the Arts. In talking about our challenges, it's no surprise, it's always budget. I've been at MSA since 2009, and in all of that time, our general appropriation has been level funded or cut. The EEF funds were implemented in 2015, and those have been increased annually. But the EEF money, as you know, is a monthly payment, and that is based on revenue from the state. And so it's not a guarantee that you'll get that every month. And so while we're grateful for it, it doesn't allow us to change our sustainable expenditures or to increase them. We do have additional funds from Remember Word, but it's waived if the students have free and reduced lunch status. And we are at 50% of our enrollment at free and reduced lunch status. We do have a nonprofit arm that assists us with private fundraising. I write a lot of grants. We have a lot of fundraising efforts. And then we work with DFA for our building projects because there hasn't been an allocation from the state for those projects that we have to maintain the historic properties. This is just a snapshot over the last 10 years to show you the blue is our general appropriation, and then the EEF is the allocation that comes monthly, and you can see that that has increased.
The EEF stands for?
Educational Enhancement Funds. Just as a comparison to show you our budget as compared to other schools like us in the country, there are only 9 residential art schools in the United States. Mississippi is one of them, which is an extraordinary thing that our state has done to invest in the students and the artistic legacy of our state. But you can see the grade structures, the one that is the closest to us, the Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts, and Arkansas School of the Arts. They're at $9 million, we are at 3.6, and that combines our EEF and our general appropriation. In addition to the things you heard on the video, I just want to highlight a few things here. Talking about staying in Mississippi, 79% of this last year's graduating class remain in Mississippi after graduation, and we normally stay around 75 to 80% of our alums that do that. Also, 75% of our graduates remain active in the arts. They don't come to study art and then leave it most of the time when they're at our school. And 98% of the class of 2025 receive scholarships, nearly $7 million to go to college. We usually average between 96 and 98% of our graduates going to college, and our completion rate is high. As we look at...
How many students total?
We have 115. We implemented a new program in 2023. It is a free program that we funded through a grant to provide an associate's degree option for our students who qualify at MSA. And so our first cohort graduated in 2025, and our next graduating class will be the same size. We had 13 that finished this associates, and we have a large number, about 70% of our students take dual credit courses as well while they're with us. This is just a snapshot to show you the scholarship offers our students receive annually as compared to the investment the state makes in our budget. And I just wanted to, I think it's always really good to see the return on investment coming from the state of Mississippi. You can see the blue is our annual budget, and the red is our scholarship offers for our students. So college and career readiness is the focus of MSA. In addition to employability skills, which we're talking about workforce, the arts have an intrinsic quality of introducing critical thinking, problem solving, giving and taking criticism, communication, collaboration, just to name a few. We have collegiate level arts programs at MSA. Every student who comes to MSA receives a minimum of 3 hours every day in their arts training. We teach every aspect of the arts industry for them and open doors. Additional programs that we've implemented over the years includes our Portfolio Day, which is a great opportunity for professors to come from arts programs around the country to recruit our students from our campus. They audition right on our campus, much like athletes are recruited. This year's event, we had 70 representatives from 31 institutions across 8 states across the country to recruit our students. Additionally, our senior seminar it was founded in 2013. That program is actually a model that was used by the State Department to create the CCR class that our students have to graduate high school today. So we are, as Mr. Pruitt said when he visited, our students are extraordinary professionals to be in their art form. Here are just a few examples of the dreams coming true of the students who come to MSA. From Ita Bina to Broadway Lion King stage, Moss Point to murals in dozens of countries around the world, Starkville to American Idol, Diamond Head to hosting Good Morning Mississippi, Jackson to Los Angeles, on screen and on the stage, Utica to Paris, now giving back through arts programs in Jackson. We can boast of many educators across the state. Most of the dance educators in Mississippi are our alumni. Our alumni are authors, recording artists, production and technical and film, actors, producers, and educators, and most of them are giving back right here in communities in our state. These graduates are just a few of the examples to show you the kinds of success stories that come out of MSA. I'd be here a really long time if I went down the whole list, but I'm very proud to say that we do really good work at MSA, and I would love for you all to see what we do. So we are your school, and I would love for you to come visit us. Follow us on social media, keep up with what we're doing. We have over 50 events per year. Most of those are free or very low cost. We are your state special school for the arts, and we are internationally recognized as an exemplary art school of the Art School Network. And so I'm honored to serve the state of Mississippi and the students here and contribute to the rich artistic legacy that Mississippi is known for. And hopefully I have another minute or so for questions if there are any for me about MSA.
Anyone have any questions?
I'll have to speak up for a second since I'm from Brookhaven and have been involved with that school since the very earliest days. But I can tell you when you walk around Brookhaven, these students walk around Brookhaven, the smiles on their faces, the smiles on the community's faces of watching these kids, of watching as they grow with our, I've gone blank on our, several of them, the one that hit the, Jasmine.
Jasmine Murray. Yeah.
And others of what they've done and what they've accomplished. But it's just the opportunity there for kids around the state. In fact, there's on the website today, I think, there's a video of a student who wrote about how MSA changed their lives. It'll bring tears to your eyes. And this state is allowing that to happen. So, and I also want to talk about this one. She can take a nickel and make $1 out of it.
We have to be creative. We have to make it happen.
Extremely creative and keeping the funding we do provide, the state needs to be more, but what's there and spending it well. I want to congratulate you on that. And my biggest fear is when she decides to retire. I don't know what we're going to do.
Have a little time left. Thank you so much for your attention and for your support of the Mississippi School of the Arts. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share what we do. Come visit us.
Thank you.
I will say, while Ginger's getting to the stage, that campus is beautiful. The video does not do it. It looks clean, crisp, and nice on the video, but that's real life. That's not video. It looks just like that when you're there, so it's beautiful there.
The visit I made, I asked specifically if they had done something special to campus to make it look like this, and I was told, no, it looks like this all the time, but the campus is really well done.
Well, next I have the privilege of introducing to you Ms. Ginger Tedder. She is the Executive Director at the Mississippi School for the Math and Science. So,
thank you for this opportunity. Dr. Evans, thank you as well. We do appreciate the support of the State Board and MDE I think the three special schools and state schools would, we value those partnerships that you have with us, and thank you for the opportunity to demonstrate what we do. I'm taking a little different track here for my presentation because I was just in this seat in August. So we're gonna talk about some of the things that Suzanne and Laurel are probably talking about, but I'm gonna focus on some of the student achievements on our campus this past fall. But I would be remiss if I didn't remind us all that Mississippi was created by the legislature in 1987 as a public residential high school for STEM and to support academically gifted students. We are also an 11th and 12th grade school, and our core ideals really anchor everything that we do at MSMS. They frame all of our work, our conversations, and that's community, creativity, scholarship, and service. Our communities, we have 232 students that started. We have 227. And this is one of our iconic spaces, which is Hooper. We have in various iterations of MSMS over the years. We've graduated our 35th class and working on our 36th. We have one common academic space that is ours, and those of you who visit, it's Hooper Hall. We also have very historic buildings. They have seen a lot of life, and I think we would all echo that this is a challenge sometimes to maintain those on our budgets, but we do absolutely the best we can. We have great partners in our alums and our families, and we have great spaces like this as a result of creativity, stretching that penny, and hard work on behalf of people that love our campuses. So the first thing I'd like to focus on is our partnership with all these fantastic school districts across the state. One of the things that when I came back to campus, I'm an alum from the class of '92. We are your school, we are the state's school, and every superintendent that I meet, I remind them that we are your school. I see myself as a part of every district and every homeschool track and every private school in the state of Mississippi because that's where our students come from, and we're on a mission to learn. This is a great indication of the breadth of service that we give to the state of Mississippi, and the bulk of the work comes from the teachers across the state. We are blessed to get the proceeds of that work and the benefits of that work at MSMS, and we have them for 2 years, and we don't take that for granted. So we appreciate and thank all the educators out there listening and superintendents. Thank you for sending them to us and sharing them with us. So we have 16 National Merit semifinalists this year, and you can see that they are all across the state, and I wish you could meet every one of them. They are so articulate, and they would make you very impressed about the future of Mississippi and confident in what that is with all of their abilities. We also have a program at MSMS and across the state. Students are allowed to participate in QuestBridge. It's a scholarship matching program, very influential. It's well known across the nation, and we're blessed to have 5 students at MSMS. It represents, there is a private school, Winston Zane from Washington School. We have several public school students in that, and then a homeschool student, Isabella Rushing. So that's where they have been matched and get a 4-year full ride scholarship to those institutions. QuestBridge is a long-standing tradition at MSMS, and we're very proud of these students. This is where they have, they're going to have a great senior spring semester because their work is done. They know where they're going, and they know that it is paid for, and we are excessively proud of them and congratulate all of them. I wanted to share a quick video of, and Crosby, just like you said you had gotten your acceptance to MIT, Kyler Booth shared this video with us, and we have a rich community at MSMS, and Kyler Booth is a senior, and he has gotten accepted, and I want you to just see the excitement, and this is very indicative of our community. Right?
Oh God, it's here.
Oh, my God.
Let's go. Oh my God. So I got in the dark.
Just a little taste. Crosby, was yours anything like that?
I jumped into my leg.
A Yeah, those are the moments that we live for at MSMS and on all of our high school campuses across the state, is those moments of success for our students. So congratulations, Kyler, if you're listening. We also have a rich history at MSMS of students coming to us that want to serve in the military. And so we have a record number this year, 6, and you see where they're all applying to. They are very motivated, and we know that any of those service academies will be blessed to have any of these students. So we just wanted to highlight the different tracks and pathways that MSMS students go to after college or after high school. We also have a new program at MSMS, courtesy of Dr. Richard Humphreys, if he's listening, from Jackson County School District. He is a robotics engineering faculty member there. We were blessed to get a junior group of students from his class that had participated in REC drones, RCF. It's new to us. We are an institution who we absolutely love to follow the students' passions when they come to us. So we had a group of his students that came, and they approached us to develop a drone program. So here we are. We jumped right in the deep end with them, and I'll tell you, Spencer and Wyatt could probably lead the nation right now. They could lead whatever they want. They are that accomplished of students, and they're doing all the work. So we have a drone competition coming up. This is drone season. I've learned a lot about drones here at MSMS, more than I thought there was to learn about drones. But we were blessed to get a grant, also courtesy of Dr. Humphreys, who gave us the tip, for $3,500 to fund that. So we're always looking for ways to fund opportunities for our students and ways to partner with districts. So this is just an indication of that. And Dr. Humphreys, if you're out there, thank you very much for your students, and thank you for the tip for the grant. The drone program is going to be a very popular new program at MSMS. We also have a rich tradition that I benefited from as a student back in the 1990s, as a fine arts program and a performing arts program. And we're very proud of that. So we have a sibling group that is just a very, very cool accomplishment that they have done. They're very artistic, they're very academically talented in math and science. And they are also amazing pianists. They are very talented. So Harrison and Catherine Shaw are siblings that have gotten first place and gone to national levels. And it was just very unique that Catherine came, followed in his footsteps, and they're very, very proud of the arts, and we are proud of the arts, and we appreciate students like them that are well-rounded. So we wanted to highlight Harrison and Catherine, and congratulations to the sibling group that is, and Catherine will be participating in the spring in a national competition. We also have athletics at MSMS. We have quite a few sports. We are very proud. I'm just going to highlight the wrestling team. We're proud of all of them, so I don't get in trouble when I get back to campus. Wrestling is new to us. It's in year 2. Last year we started with 5 members. We've grown to 18. And I just came back last weekend in Oxford for a tournament with them. And if you've never attended wrestling, you've never watched that sport, it is amazing. Scary at the beginning, because it's very physical, but amazing. The students are just very impressive. So we are blessed to have senior Nina Weinstein, who was on the front row. She's first in her weight class. She was a first-year program state champion last year. And we have seniors Enoch Clardy and Shaw Pruitt from that are in their respective weight classes 4th. And if you ever go, I'm sure your schools in your district have wrestling teams. I can encourage you to go and watch those wrestling matches for sure. MSMS is going to be at Capitol. If anybody's in the neighborhood board, we're going to be there January the 29th talking to our representatives and our senators. And that is a fun day for all. They tell us that it is one of their most favorite days when we visit, because our students are very articulate and they embrace our students and take them on all kind of tours, and it's just a great day for our students. They come away really appreciating the investment of the state of Mississippi, and I think that our leaders understand that the investment they're making is very important once they meet the students. So this is just to let everyone know that our Capitol Day will be in January, and we appreciate the support of the legislature. And on behalf of MSMS, we'd like to wish everyone a happy holiday. We've gotten back to our tradition of holiday cards. And if you look in the bottom right corner, we have a new mascot at MSMS. that we are introducing just a fun community element to MSMS. And we just wish you all a great holiday, and we look to growing and partnering with you more in the new year. So that's what we look forward to at MSMS, is growth and opportunity in the new year.
Ms. Ginger, what would that mascot be?
That is a wave. We
A
are the
wave,
Blue
okay.
Waves.
Gotcha.
He is a surfer dude. Yes. Yet to be named. Mr. Mayor, yet to be named. And I'll be happy to entertain any questions if we have time.
I'll just say, my niece is a graduate. We talked about the school while we were at Thanksgiving. And it's an incredible opportunity. We toured it a few months ago. It's just neat to see kids. They are wired a little different. They're really interested in learning, and they're really striving to get more and sort of soak up knowledge. And it's neat to see them get together in an environment where they can do that and really excel. And it's certainly been an asset for our state.
And I'm very blessed to be in a group with Dr. Hirsch and Mr. Wilson. We are definitely blessed in our work, and the state schools are doing great work on behalf of the state of Mississippi, and we appreciate your support. Just to highlight, if you have, we've brought you materials for the session in case you need them. This is an MSMS by the numbers sheet. It might be just informational for you legislative session, and a profile, and then you have slides, copies of the slides in your folder. All right. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Oh, I teach you Dr. Humphries. Dr. Humphries is amazing. He is. Yes, please tell him I say hello.
I'll say Ms. Tedder did a great job. We had some mechanical issues in the building this year, and we had some air conditioning problems, to say the least. But instruction did not suffer. She was able to manage that and did a great job navigating those challenges. And from what I understand, everything's back on track.
We are well conditioned in Hoover building.
Is that what you meant when you said, you described it as a very historic building? I didn't know the meaning. Is that what you meant?
Well, they are historic, and I think with historic buildings, they've been well loved, Mr. Pruitt, so, yes. They do take a lot of money.
She put that way better than I was going to. All right, next we have Mr. LaMarlon Wilson, our Executive Director or Superintendent of the Mississippi School for the Deaf and Blind.
Good morning. So one thing I learned this morning from Suzanne is the Mississippi Schools for the Deaf and Blind needs to do a commercial. Okay. So I think that's a great way to start, right? So good morning, I'm LaMarlon Wilson. I serve as the Superintendent for the Mississippi Schools for the Deaf and Blind. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to be before you today. And so I'll be talking a bit about our school district as it is untraditional in its approach. So we have two schools. The Mississippi School for the Deaf was established in 1854, and the Mississippi School for the Blind was established in 1848. And so many people, there's a misconception that it's just this one school, but it actually is two schools. And so in addition to the two schools, we also have 3 statewide services. One is called MERC, which is the Mississippi Instructional Resource Center, that provides Braille, large print, and assistive technology to school districts across the state. We also have our Sky High program, which falls under our outreach department, and it serves birth through age 3 students or children who have been identified as blind, low vision, deaf, hard of hearing, very early age. Our teachers go out into those communities across the state and serve those students, teaching pre-Braille skills, orientation and mobility, using assistive technology or sign language. And then of course we have the MAC, which is the Mississippi Assistance Center, formerly known as the Jackson Lions Club Low Vision Clinic. It is a full clinic on our campus in which we have a full-time audiologist and an ophthalmologist. So our students have to have been previously identified as having blindness or deafness through their primary care physician, and we refer to our district, and we can serve those students across the state age 0 to 21, free of charge. Some of our impact numbers. So these numbers for our schools will fluctuate often as our students are assigned to our school district through a change of placement through the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. So their school, their IEP committee, which would consist of their teacher, maybe their principal, their parent, would all make the decision that the Mississippi School for the Blind or Mississippi School for the Deaf is the student's least restrictive environment, which means this is just the best setting for them to learn. So these numbers will fluctuate month to month, but as of today, the Mississippi School for the Blind serves 36 students on site, and the Mississippi School for the Deaf serves 60 students on site. Excuse me. Much better. All right, and so that totals 96 students today in which we serve on our campus, which is a combination of 91 schools and 44 districts across the state. So we have to partner with those schools and districts to curate the best service for those students. As you know, it is individualized. In addition to that, our Mississippi Instructional Resource Center also serves 621 students across the state. And so that's 55 students on our campus in which they provide Braille, large print, or assistive technology to the students at the Mississippi School for the Blind, 404 students in Mississippi Public Schools across the state, 2 private school students, and 106 what we call non-quota students, which is students who are not legally blind, but through IDEA ruling have still been ruled as a student with a disability, which is blindness. And so we are unable to utilize federal funds, and we have to mobilize state funds to support those students. Our MAC clinic, so just in review of students in which we've served in the previous year. So our low vision clinic has served 65 student patients, so that's students on our campus, as well as 141 students off-site. So that means that those parents of those students brought those students to our clinic to be served by our audiologists, which totals 206 students in the previous school year. Our low hearing clinic serves 40 students on site and 23 students off site, which totals 63. And so again, those 23 students, those parents, mobilize those students to our school district to see our on-site ophthalmologist. So that is a total of 269 patients on and off campus in the previous school year. Our Sky High, which is facilitated through our outreach department, is a collaboration with the Department of Health. And so the Department of Health Early Intervention Program, those students will be referred to them from birth to age 3, and through their referral, our teachers serve as those students' service providers. And so once those students have been identified with the Department of Health, they contact us, and we will mobilize a TVI, which is a teacher of the visually impaired, or one of our teachers who is hearing impaired certified to support that student with pre-Braille skills, orientation and mobility, help them to learn assistive technology, teaching them sign language, cultural awareness, communication skills. So currently, our Sky High department serves 27 students with low vision, 11 students who are deaf, hard of hearing. And then we also, through our outreach department, we mobilize support directly to schools and districts in which the students do not attend on our campus. So it may be a student who is blind, low vision, deaf, hard of hearing, in which it was not determined that our particular campus was their least restrictive environment, or just parents' choice. You know, it's very difficult for a parent to decide they want to send their kindergarten, first grade, second grade student across the state to be a residential student. And so in those cases, we will mobilize supports directly to that district. And so we will partner, it could be a direct service to the student, to the teacher who serves the student, to the administration of that district, and sometimes to the families. And so that is a very manicured process, depends on what that student needs, what that family is requesting. Our school district is responsible for all the traditional instructional programming and assessments. So as you can see, from pre-K through 12th grade, we are responsible for Brigance, kindergarten readiness, all ELA assessments, mathematics, third grade, the third grade reading assessment, all of our high school end of course assessments. And the goal is for students to graduate with a traditional diploma. And so obviously there are times when students will not meet those requirements. We have some students who do graduate with alternate assessments. In addition to that traditional course route, we also offer advanced placement courses, as well as career technical education courses and certifications, work-based learning opportunities and transition programming, as well as the individualized and specific learning targets that are set by the student's individual education plan that is associated with students with disabilities. And what that looks like is these specific supports that are listed here. So a student who identifies as blind, low vision, we'll mobilize teachers of the visually impaired, so we, for short, just call that a TVI. And so what that looks like is in those mathematics reading classes, those teachers will go into those classes and provide accessibility supports. So maybe the student uses a Braille textbook. They will help the student to navigate the textbook as the teacher is teaching their lesson. In addition to that, they will pull those students and work on those IEP goals that are specific to learning Braille, orientation and mobility, sometimes occupational therapy, and all sorts of other assistive technology, whatever is specific to that student. In addition to that, we have a full-time orientation and mobility specialist. Our students are afforded the opportunity to learn and receive Braille resources or large print, depending on that student's particular needs, assistive technology, Braille writers, and CCTVs, which are magnifying devices that students, if you remember the old school DocuCams that teachers used to use, it would be a camera that they would slide the paper under and it would magnify. It's a very similar concept for students who are blind, low vision. For students who are deaf, hard of hearing, we'll mobilize support such as interpreters, auditory training, American Sign Language, actually explicitly teaching American Sign Language, as well as instruction being facilitated through ASL. VPAs, which obviously in a deaf school, you would not do traditional announcements. So it will be devices that are situated throughout the school. If there is an announcement, there will be a flash of light and it will draw the students' attention to let them know it's lunchtime, or we're dismissing early today, or whatever that announcement would be. If you know anything about the Mississippi Schools for the Deaf and Blind, you will know that we are heavily entrenched in athletics. Okay, so the blind, so our athletics, and so you'll see that that sports they fall under certain categories, but truly our students participate in all sports in which they are eligible, in which they are capable to participate in. So the sports that we identify as blind, low vision sports, we have wrestling as well, which is a very big deal, and Ginger is right, it's very intense. We also have goal ball, and if you can just imagine, it's similar to soccer, except for it's inside of a gymnasium, and the students are on their hands and knees. It's a blindfolded sport because obviously it's a blind sport, and there's a bell inside of a ball, and the students are aiming to keep it from going in that goal and to push it back across the floor into the other goal. So it's a silent sport. You are not able to say anything because they have to be able to hear the bell and the ball. So when they get a goal, this is how we cheer. Okay, let me see everyone cheer. Okay. All right, so that is how goal ball cheering looks. And then of course we have cheerleading, band. We have an exceptional band program. Our band teacher actually was a semifinalist for a Grammy last year. And so if you know anything about the Grammys, every year there's one music educator, and he was a semifinalist, and so we were very proud of that. As well as we have track and field for girls and boys. Our deaf, hard of hearing sports, we have basketball, football, cheerleading, DEGS, track and field, baseball, pee-wee football, and volleyball. Some of our current challenges. So funding, as you can imagine, it takes a great deal of specially skilled staff members to be able to facilitate all the individual supports that our students need. So funding for those specialized staff is crucial. We have a full-time orientation and mobility specialist, which is actually, that's not common. And so an orientation and mobility specialist is usually a contracted person who works all across the nation, and we have a full-time person. And we fear that one day, opportunities will present itself that we're unable to keep him. We also have incredible support staff and related service individuals who are necessary for us to be able to provide our students with free and appropriate education. Another current challenge is certifications. We currently have no certification programs in any of our higher education institutions in the state. And so what I mean is there is no institution in Mississippi that offers the opportunities for individuals to become certified as a teacher of the visually impaired or hearing impaired. As you can imagine, that's very important for our work. Outreach. Our outreach department is expanding significantly. School districts have learned that we will provide a direct service to them. And so they're contacting us every day saying, hey, I have this pre-K kid that's low vision. We have no clue what to do with them. How can you all help us? As you can imagine, we want to and we need to because we are the state schools that specialize in this work. And so just that expanding outreach is going to present a funding challenge eventually. Travel for specialized training and conferences. As you can imagine, our teachers have to do a great deal of traveling to learn the skills that they need to learn in order to be as effective as possible in terms of teaching students who are deaf, hard of hearing, blind, low vision. The need for trained interpreters. And so, as you can imagine, interpreting is a huge part of the work that we do for our students who are deaf, hard of hearing, as well as our staff. We have teachers who are blind. We have teachers who are deaf. And dorm staff, individuals who work in departments across our district. And so these particular supports are not mobilized just to our students, but also to our staff and our families, as you can imagine. So, some additional current challenges, traveling for athletics. So our students play other schools for the deaf and other schools for the blind. And it's a lot of traveling, but it is necessary because our students should have the opportunity to socialize with individuals who have similar abilities. And so with that, that travel expectation, it is a hefty cost on our budget. After school enrichment opportunities, imagining that students whose community is American Sign Language affluent, whose community is blind, low vision, there has to be specific programming that is designed for those students in a community in which they live. It's residential. So essentially, this is their home away from home. And so having those after-school enrichment opportunities for our students to continue that learning in a different way is vital. Expanding our post-secondary training and opportunities, so establishing internships and work-based learning for our students who are blind, low vision, deaf, hard of hearing, has presented a challenge. As well as funding our MERC department, which again is the Mississippi Instructional Resource Center, in which we provide Braille large print, and that should say assistive technology to school districts across our state. It is important that we are able to continue to fund those resources.
Can I ask a funding question real quick?
Sure.
Because you're a little different than the two schools, your district money, because those children have IEPs, a bigger portion of that travels with them for the school funding, right?
No, sir.
You still only get the federal funds?
We only get the state allocation.
The title?
Yeah.
You only get the state allocation?
Yes, sir.
Not the I'm sorry, I'm gonna clear this up. Not the MSFF funds, only the dollars that are allocated through the legislature specifically for MSFF.
So not even the assessment formula, but a specific line item appropriation.
We're working on all of that. But
So
yes,
all three
I just wanted
schools
to,
have that
I
same
didn't want you to think that it was,
thing,
yeah. All three of these schools operate on like the thin razor.
A line item
Yes,
appropriation,
yes,
not in
sir.
the formula, and they get no property tax?
Yes, sir. No, sir. No local dollar. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, thank you. I invite all comments. So, exciting future ahead. So we have approximately 20 staff members who have registered for the Vision and Hearing Project's Deaf Blind courses. And so these courses do not lead to licensure certifications, but it does provide background knowledge and exposure on how to teach students who are deaf, blind, or deaf-blind. And at any point, we could accept a student who is deaf-blind, who would need all the services of a student who is deaf and or blind. Other exciting things, we do have one staff member who's completing the Teacher of the Visually Impaired certification program through Texas Tech. Unfortunately, it is not reciprocal, so she will receive that once she completes it, but it will not lead to licensure in Mississippi as of yet. So those are some things that we are working on currently. We do have, that should say, potential partnerships with 2 state universities to reinstitute the TBI and HI certification programs. One being William Carey, who was very excited, and they actually approached us at Mass last year about this opportunity, and they want to utilize our staff as adjunct professors to teach those programs, as we are the ones who are actually the practitioners. We have a few pending memorandums of understanding, as I said before, expanding our outreach services to local school districts. So very excited about that, because as you know, this work is not just happening on our campus, it's happening across our state, and just continuing to support that work. We've expanded our interpreter units, so at the time in which I took the helm of the district, we had 2 interpreters, and now we have 6 interpreting units. However, finding trained interpreters, certified interpreters, is still the challenge. We've closed the gap between our Sky High and our pre-K. So as I talked about early intervention, our Sky High was servicing birth to age 3, and our pre-K began at age 4. And so last year, we presented to the board to reconfigure and add 3-year-old pre-K. And so now our students are able to shift directly from early intervention directly into school with us. We've increased our dual enrollment course offerings at Hines Community College. And we've also implemented summer intensives for teaching and learning American Sign Language. So it's open to community, but we definitely target new staff as they come in each year. And this year we'll be facilitating Braille training as well next summer. So a few highlights. So this is one of our 8th grade students, Joshua Dye. He was a recipient of an annual scholarship that was issued by the Mississippi State Association of the Elks. So very excited. We had the opportunity to pick a middle school student, and he's a student who is showing much promise. Very excited. He's one of our students from the Mississippi School for the Deaf. This is Selassie Spears. She is a 10th grade student at the Mississippi School for the Deaf. She was selected as a high school council member for the Jackson, Mississippi Ward 7. So very excited to have that level of representation as she serves along with some of the other Jackson high schoolers and private school students as well. This student also has artwork that's posted at the Mississippi Arts Commission, and one of her pieces just sold today. So very excited about her and her opportunities ahead. So this is one of our infamous teams, so volleyball. And so they had their first victory at their first game. So of course we had to hear about that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And so we're still celebrating that victory of that first game. And so that was at they played one of the local schools. And so interestingly, our students play against other teams in Region 7 under the Mississippi High School Activity Association, as well as other schools for the deaf and schools for the blind in Oklahoma, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana. In October, we did a community service, an outreach project with the Mississippi Food Network. So you see our students here giving back. And so of course, it started as, oh man, we have to go do this. And halfway through, they were super excited about just learning all about the Mississippi Food Network and being able to give back to the community. This is one of our 11th grade students. His name is Alvin Buckley from the Mississippi School for the Blind. We affectionately call him AJ. And he is full of life, and as you can see, he's one of our wrestling champions. He has not lost a match since he began wrestling last year. Yeah, we'll be bringing him to MSMS to compete. Now, I don't know about the full team, but definitely him. And then we had a visit from Miss Mississippi to our lower elementary. And so she authored a book, and so she read her book to our lower elementary kids. And so at the end, interestingly, she asked students if they had questions about the book, and they had questions but about her hair and about her dress and where's her crown and a lot of other questions, right? And so she was super excited to still answer those questions, and so we were really excited about that. And then, of course, just highlighting our cheerleading team. And so this is the Mississippi School for the Blind's cheerleading team, but there are a few students from the Mississippi School for the Deaf. And so it's very interesting to see how they collaborate to be able to execute cheers and chants. And so one of the biggest opportunities is to ensure that our students are able to enter society and engage in a larger community. And so it starts with just sports or just simple opportunities for them to socialize across schools. And so this is just an opportunity where our students get to learn from each other, figure out how they can work together to then execute. And so we're just super excited about that. And then we have a few shout outs for our staff. We have 2 teachers who have been selected as Teach Plus Mississippi Teacher Policy Fellows. And so Gloria Rogers McDuffie is one of our Sky High early intervention teachers. And we call her Nikki, and so I will not botch her name in this meeting, but Nikki Moore is our middle school science teacher for the Mississippi School for the Deaf. Some major presentations. So Dr. Antonio McGee is the director of the Mississippi Instructional Resource Center, and he does presentations all across our state and also outside of our state, just introducing them to the services within our district. And so making connections, and the Time is Right Special Education Conference in the summer. He frequents those events to ensure that Mississippi educators are aware of the services that we offer. And then our district test coordinator was selected in the previous year as a MAP bias reviewer, which is significantly important when we're talking about biases on assessments, as she has a specific lens into what it looks like to teach students who are blind, low vision, deaf, hard of hearing, and how assessment test items could be biased towards those particular students. And these are our graduates from our inaugural summer ASL intensive. And the root word of intensive is intense. And so it was an intense week of teaching and learning. And so these individuals gave up a full week, 8 to 5, to come to our campus to learn sign language. And on that Friday, they had public presentations in which it had to be completely delivered through sign. And so it was very intense, but they were extremely proud of the work they were able to do. And that brings me to the conclusion of my presentation. At this time, I will entertain questions, comments, not necessarily concerns.
I recognize that all the state schools have some challenges, but I cannot fathom the additional things that you have to, with the age plus the limitations. I mean, I can't imagine we have a teacher shortage across the state that we teach, much less recruiting those that have these specific certifications. So that looked phenomenal.
Thank you.
I was not able to tour it today. We went. I would like to at some point, but then at MSA because I've not been either. But there's got to be an interesting environment, and just to see those kids succeed. And I appreciate the state makes an investment to make sure they are included and enabled.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I had the opportunity to visit and walked into a classroom that was fully engaged. The teacher was teaching, there were discussions going on around the room, and it was pointed out to me there wasn't a sound to be heard. And I just watched these kids, it was, I mean, to me, that was just really, really interesting to watch the interaction going on. And it was a conversation back and forth through ASL, and these kids were in the learning mode, and that was super cool. Can I say something to the, if I may, to the three? I wouldn't have changed a single thing in your three presentations. They were perfect.
Except the commercial.
You're gonna use every opportunity you get to commercial.
So next year, look forward to our commercial. Thank you so much.
We appreciate all of y'all presenting today. Our next item is an educator workforce development update.
Morning, everybody. I get to follow the very, very tough acts, but I will certainly do my best. We truly appreciate the opportunity to share today's information item as an update on Mississippi's educator workforce. On behalf of Dr. Vanderford, my name is Courtney Van Cleven. I serve as the Executive Director of our Office of Educator Continuum. So as we work to achieve our vision and mission to create a world-class educational system that gives all students our preparation to compete in the global community, we see a strong educator workforce as critical to achieving Goal 4, even as we believe it lays a firm foundation for all of our other goals. We'll ground today's presentation in our ongoing efforts to support Mississippi's educators from recruitment to retirement. With that in mind, we'll move into our educator workforce updates. This year, we're taking a slightly different approach by presenting the results of our teacher recruitment and retention survey alongside our educator shortage survey in an effort to truly elevate teacher-generated shortage strategies and respond to previous stakeholder questions. That said, the full results from both surveys are indeed available on our website. As many of you know, we administer 2 surveys per year. Our teacher recruitment and retention survey, which uses both non-baseline and baseline survey administrations to dig into key issues and offer a comprehensive picture of educator workforce needs, the next of which is a baseline survey anticipated for next year. This survey is administered every spring, so it reports lag year data. In the meantime, our educator shortage survey is administered in the fall. 100% of Mississippi's traditional public school districts did indeed complete the educator shortage survey, which has remained consistent across all 5 years of its administration. This year, we do want to note a slight adjustment in terminology as districts reported actual rather than anticipated vacancies in response to previous stakeholder feedback received. With that, we'll start going into the high-level results from each survey. This slide presents our educator workforce vacancies across the various classifications as reported by superintendents and their designees for the 2025-2026 school year. In the bottom row for each column, you can see the total by classification and the change over time, both in comparison to our initial survey administration and in comparison to this time last year. This year's results indicate an increase in vacancies across all educator workforce classifications in comparison to last year's survey results and our initial survey administration for the first time since this survey began. To give you a picture of key findings, we did want to give you a sense of what is outlined in the full survey results, even though we won't break down every single area for the sake of time. So to show a couple of examples, with elementary teacher vacancies, in terms of how the full results are represented, they start with our initial survey administration in the 2021-2022 school year and present the results for every subsequent administration thereafter, with the following columns presenting the change since our initial survey administration and the change since last year's survey administration. Within elementary vacancies, this does indeed remain one of our greatest areas of need and has consistently registered increases over time, as has special education in comparison to other K-12 teacher vacancies. Together, elementary and special education vacancies alone account for 49% of reported teacher shortages. Even as we have reason to be concerned with the current teacher assistant vacancies, as we frequently look to them as one of our strongest pools for prospective future teachers. Moving from key results into an analysis of our broader landscape, we wanted to address some of your previous questions. Specifically, members of our Licensure Commission and members of our State Board of Education have inquired about the percentage of teacher vacancies compared to student enrollment and as a percentage of the total educator workforce, which you can see here. We've also been asked about the impact of previous teacher pay raises on vacancies. Here what we would note is that there are other large-scale factors at play, such as the licensure testing criterion suspension during COVID-19, that make it really difficult to just solely isolate the impact of teacher pay raises. But what we can see here is our only substantial decrease in the number of teacher vacancies occurred in the 2022-2023 school year when large-scale policy action was coupled with teacher pay raises, which is going to get us into some of our strategies for the year ahead. So despite the large and growing problem of teacher shortages across the country, we remain committed as a national leader in educator workforce innovation. Based on the teacher recruitment and retention survey results, this year we're thinking broadly in terms of policies, programs, and teacher pay to address key challenges in educator workforce development. By addressing policy barriers, reinventing programs, and sharing information regarding teacher pay, we hope to recreate some of the conditions that have previously proven successful in decreased teacher vacancies. So to address policy barriers, we are pleased to share an update on the comprehensive policy review we discussed with you all this time last year, with some of the results, including but not limited to your approval of the amendment to the Foundations of Reading licensure criterion for elementary education and special education, approval of the establishment of the criteria for a 2-year provisional license via reciprocity, and our ongoing review of the criteria for secondary mathematics education supplemental endorsements. We are also reinventing our programs in the hope of inspiring our teachers just as they inspire us on a daily basis with responses like these to our teacher recruitment and retention survey. On that note, we partnered with MDE's Office of Communications and Government Relations to completely redesign the TeachMS website, which now features inspiring content for districts and universities to share with prospective educators, and an interactive licensure tool for prospective educators to find their path into the classroom. And as a part of Dr. Evans's charge in initiating Mississippi Leads, we are pleased to see the early indications of effective leadership as a tool for increased teacher retention, both in the results that we are seeing to our revamped Orientation for School Leadership series in partnership with the Kellogg Foundation and our Mississippi Regional Education Service agencies, and in the substantial decrease in the percentage of teachers who are citing school leadership as their reason for leaving the profession, even as we have to acknowledge the real impact of teacher pay on attrition and resulting shortages. Because as we continue our policy and programmatic supports, teacher pay remains an issue for many of Mississippi's education stakeholders. According to recent national data, Mississippi ranks 46th out of 49 states for teacher pay, even after adjusting for the cost of living. And while MDE must admittedly rely on federal bureaus to present these kinds of cross-state salary comparisons, we do know there is an issue based on the results of our annual teacher recruitment and retention survey, wherein Mississippi teachers themselves consistently note the impact of teacher pay. Aspirationally, we hope to honor the tremendous progress Mississippi's teachers have made on a national scale. Fundamentally, we remain committed to providing the updates for legislators and other educational stakeholders to make informed decisions regarding teacher pay, and truly appreciate their continued collaboration in that regard. And so with that, I'm happy to take any questions or comments.
One thing, I know you didn't get into all the data because there's a lot of it, but is the overwhelming, it seems to me from what the little bit you had there, the overwhelming issue is pay?
Currently, yes, sir. According again, just directly from Mississippi teachers.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The data that you have.
It's eye-opening. It's going to be hard to sustain what we've been successful doing if we don't have people that can be in a classroom to lead those efforts.
Amen. We've just seen them 3 very important schools, and they're in a different league of that. So we've got to do this somehow.
Anybody have any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
That was also in the strategic plan that reflects those same
Yes.
sentiment from those groups.
Let's see. We have another information item from the Office of School and District Transformation and the Office of Academic Education.
While we're kicking this off, if I could add like 30 seconds. So one of the main reasons for this presentation is it's important that we acknowledge the amount of work, effort, and resources that the department puts into schools in the form of coaching. And you'll see all the different types of coaching that we provide. Also, just the sheer number of schools that we're in. And we're in schools, whether they be F-rated or A-rated. Now, it's on a sliding scale, obviously. But I wanted to bring your attention to this, and I wanted to bring, quite honestly, the entire state's attention to how much effort we put forth to try to help build the capacity of our educators and leaders. So with that being said, y'all, thank you so much for putting the presentation together.
Good morning, Chairman Miller, Dr. Evans, and members of the State Board. We do thank you for the opportunity to share a bit about our MDE coaching model as well as other supports. The coaching model is a statewide instructional support strategy designed to, first of all, strengthen teacher practices, improve school culture, and then increase student achievement, of course. And therefore, the model addresses all 6, but particularly goals 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, respectively. The purpose of our session today, as Dr. Evans mentioned, we'd like to explain the services provided with the coaching model and some of the supports that accompany that, the benefits to schools and educators, being benefactors of the coaching model and coaches, the demonstrated impact on student outcomes, the state investment to support the implementation of the model, as well as a breakdown of that investment of particularly state dollars, although the little federal dollars will be integrated into this as well. So the coaching model as of the current school year, 25-26 school year, consists of literacy, mathematics, early childhood, leadership, and IDEA coaches, as well as intervention supports. So I'm just to spend a couple of minutes talking about those. First of all, and I've said this before, coaching is deliberately not tutoring. Instead, it's capacity building. Helping teachers develop stronger, long-term instructional skills so improvements are sustained. In our literacy and mathematics areas, that makes up more than half of the model, the coaching model. Literacy and math coaches are populated to schools. They're not populated to districts. They're populated to individual schools, based on the most recent 2-year math data that we have in math and/or ELA. Okay, so that's how they're populated. And I think it's very important to note that because we don't serve districts with the coaching model, we serve specific schools, okay? I think it also is important, we did a little looking at it, in schools across the board, that we have served for the last 3 years, we have an average growth of 2.25% in proficiency as it relates to our literacy coaching supports. Our math coaching supports, we can't garner that kind of data yet because we just haven't done it as long. But literacy, we've been working on this for many, many years. I think I told you guys several months ago, maybe back in August, that we see the most gains in proficiency in schools that we serve who, Ms. Warner and Mr. Jacobs, have adopted a high-quality instructional material. Yes. And have really worked to implement that to fidelity. Okay, there's consistency in instruction. Children are getting consistent messages. They're getting the same rigor. They're aligned to the standards, and it's a game changer. Other thing too, and this is to Courtney's point, is supportive administration. Administration understands the importance of coaching and gets in those classrooms and observes teachers. And then, of course, retention of teachers, specifically in the same grade over a period of time. Okay, that just makes a difference. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what coaching is. So the Mississippi Department of Education, we provide intensive, what we call job-embedded coaching in literacy, both general and special education, and mathematics to strengthen instructional practices, and of course we want to improve student outcomes. Coaches serve in schools 4 to 5 days per week, allowing them to work side by side with teachers. Typically, a coach in literacy or mathematics is assigned to schools, and they do a rotating schedule, which means they would be in one school 3 days a week, and then 2 days the next week, and then 3 days and 2 days, okay? But they're in those schools every week working with teachers. And the protocol in this coaching is that they go in, they have pre-conferences, that they go in and they co-teach with these teachers, they model lessons for the teachers, they work with administrators to understand what it is that they're supposed to be seeing in the classroom. They give feedback to the teachers. But I want to point out that this process is non-evaluative. We are not there to evaluate, we are there to work with teachers and to help grow their capacity and become stronger teachers. This is not a short game we're playing. This is not, we're going to go in and we're going to touch you and you're going to see proficiency go up by 30%. It's a long game, okay? It is making sure that those teachers understand that when proficiency rises, they understand why it has risen, not just, oh, well, wasn't that great, you know? There is a method to the madness in our coaching model. I do want to say that with our administrators, we really try to work with them because many of them don't understand the instructional nature and what they're supposed to be seeing in classrooms. So we try to support them with 1 or 2 clear, measurable instructional priorities to look at. One thing we have done is made sure that there is consistency across general education and special education, as well as all of the related services. Again, I mentioned it's non-evaluation in its purpose. We've talked a little bit about high-quality instructional material and the importance of that, ensuring that students have accommodations and modifications that meet their specific need, which can be found in the high-quality instructional materials. both in tier instructions and interventions, as well as accommodations and modifications. We also, this is bullet, I think number 4 up here, we, outside of the day-to-day coaching, we also offer statewide professional development, which means that every district, every school has an opportunity to participate in that. In the area of literacy, of course, AIMS training, which is our science of reading training, is something that we want all teachers in K-3 to participate in. We also have some adolescent portions of that. And then the last thing I want to say about the coaching model, and I mentioned this before, we are trying to help teachers and leaders develop strong practices with ongoing support, reflection, professional learning, etc. The last thing I want to talk about before I turn it over to Dr. Nowell is we also have intervention and what we call IDEA supports. Now, these supports may not be where a coach is assigned to a school, but we do provide supports in writing, both academic and behavior interventions for students who are in need of those, as well as individual education programs for students. We provide evidence-based instructional behavioral strategies for students, both in the MTSS process and IEP. We talk about what Tier 2 and Tier 3 instruction is. We guide schools on the role of MTSS, how to document, how to schedule interventions. Guys, that's a big thing. At the high school level, if you've got a child that needs a pull-out Tier 3 intervention, it's difficult to schedule that for that student. So we even go in and try to help administrators understand how can we schedule that in the student's day. And then support meaningful family and community engagement. That's huge. Helping schools communicate with their families about the importance of interventions, accommodations, modifications in the instruction. So outside the coaching, we also have these supports as well. At this time, I'm going to allow Dr. Michelle Nowell, who is our Associate State Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. She's going to talk a little bit about what we want to do going forward with our coaching model.
Ms. Clemens has shared with you where we are. I want to talk to you about the future and moving forward. In that, because of our success in literacy and math and the coaching model, we will be adding 25 literacy coaches, which will get us up to 86 for the new school year. And we're going to be adding 20 math coaches, which will get us up to 30. As Dr. Evans spoke about earlier, we do have other states reaching out to us weekly, sometimes daily. And we don't want them to catch us. We don't mind sharing, but we want to stay ahead of that curve. And we feel like one way for us to do that is to expand our efforts in grades 4 through 8 and 9 through 12 in what we're calling adolescent literacy. So we are very hopeful that the legislature will approve. We've asked for $9 million in funding, as you all know, and we feel like this will help us. We know literacy doesn't stop at the 3rd grade, so this will help us continue that push in our state. Also, we feel like, as Ms. Clemens spoke about, our coaching model is one of the reasons we have been so successful, because it's true boots on the ground. And I also need to mention not just the coaching model, but it's about relationships. And she spoke about how we have to get in there and talk to the administrators and the teachers, but it's all of that together. We're really working on changing the trajectory of MDE being a gotcha, but we're not the gotcha, we're here to help you. So I really wanted to emphasize, because when Dr. Evans joined us, he said, it's all about the relationships. And we need to build that, not just with the literacy support schools and the math support schools, but with our A districts, because I can promise y'all, they're asking for the professional development that Ms. Clemens spoke about, and so we're in those schools as well.
All right, and now I'm going to turn it over, you guys, Dr. Marshall is going to talk with you a little bit about the school improvement leadership model, as well as some of the return on investment and the investment that we make in these supports, because they cost,
So one of the tasks that I'm assigned with in the Office of School and District Transformation and the Academic Office is to blend our coordinated effort in literacy, math, MTSS, IDEA, and school improvement together. And so within the Office of School and District Transformation, we take and deal with schools that may need a little bit more intensive care, and we build partnerships with those school districts that need leadership coaching. And so just talk a little bit about how that leadership coaching develops. We have a 3-year analysis of their accountability data, both 700 and 1,000 point schools. On that 3-year average, we take the lowest 5% CSI schools, and they get a leadership coach. And that's how we divide our human capital in that department. Currently, we're at 32 schools that we have leadership coaches serving. Typically, a 5% would mean somewhere around 35 to 37 schools, but we've had some school closures or consolidation inside that 3-year window. We're in year 3, so schools will have the opportunity to come outside of CSI or the comprehensive support and improvement designation at the end of this year if they have improved. So that gives you an insight about how those coaches are placed. Those coaches in their work, they are in those buildings 4 times a month, and in between, we try to do that on back-to-back days so that there's some consistency within those days with the leadership there. And then in between those visits, there's guided practice in between visits, principal reflections, all the things that you would ask for a principal to be doing to learn. And then we focus on systems like professional learning communities, walkthrough routines, efficient scheduling, how to schedule data meetings, what those look like. And so ultimately we're trying to build capacity within those leadership roles inside those schools. And we emphasize making data-driven decisions, obviously. Next slide. So we have implemented a process this year with a commitment letter to the districts outlining the specific partnership between MDE and schools that are considered CSI schools or comprehensive support and improvement schools. And in this commitment letter, or in this commitment with the districts, we're wanting to ensure mutual accountability across both the department and the school district and school that we're serving. And so currently with those 32 schools, those schools have to submit letters informing the local board. We submit a letter to their local board no more later than the January meeting to inform them of our intent. And then in slide 10, or slide 9 now, the letter formalizes these commitments between both the district and the MDE. And so those letters are signed by not only the board chair of that school district, but the superintendent, the principal of the school that we're serving, and the Office of School and District Transformation. And so that solidifies the partnership between the two entities. And it is a partnership. We hold some accountability in that as well as MDE. You can see on this slide here that illustrates the commitments from both sides. There's no need to read those, but we demonstrate through this that there is a statewide adoption through not only district participation, but also MDE commitment to those districts. And so with that, we move into what our sustainability exit and success looks like. We do not want to be in a CSI school with building leadership capacity for the long term, such as we want to be working on instructional practice for the long term, but that we have a sustainability plan here where we go into the district, we embed these strategic practices, build them into their board policy, build them into their daily practice, and then as we go through those things and we align to the long-term success of the district, we try to use the gradual release module, where in phase 1 we are a true partnership with shared leadership, both in the districts in the work of literacy, math, MTSS, SPED leadership, all the things We're there in the shared leadership role. And then phase 2, we're trying to gradually release those things as we get out in years 2 and 3, as we start to back out and hand over the responsibility to those districts. And then obviously in year 3, is if we've seen improvement, we're looking for the exit of our daily work and more of a check-in system or a virtual system with those districts. We have had some that are in phase 3 right now, and that has worked out very well for them. But we still demonstrate that the final review is based on the success of that district. We still can maintain our presence there if we need to. Success indicators are performance targets based on a 2 years, fully aligned human and financial capital inside the district, internal staff that has developed capacity to run the instructional systems of the school district effectively, and then policies that ensure that there's ongoing alignment with their strategic planning. These are the supports we've mentioned today. I would mention that the leadership coaching is, for the most part, federally funded. Everything else on here is state funded. But we have about $800,000 that we choose, that we do not have to spend on leadership, but we choose to spend it on leadership capacity within districts because we feel like leadership is very important, and it's important to the school districts that we serve. And so we choose to send that, use that money in that particular way. But these are we're in, like I said, 32 schools with leadership coaches. We're in abundantly more schools with the other coaching services that we offer there. And I think the aha moment of all of this is coming up on the next slide. This is the amount of money we are approximately spending in human capital for each of these services. Now, that being said, it's very difficult to pinpoint specific numbers because these coaches serve multiple schools. So how you determine how many hours they're in one school versus the next is very difficult. So we split the salaries on an average. So if they serve 3 schools, their salary was split 3 ways. If they serve 4 schools, it was split 4 ways. So you kind of get the idea here. So that is the approximate dollar figure by service. And then the next slide gives you the number of school districts schools that we serve currently with our coaching model throughout all services that we're trying to coordinate. We're in 68% of the F districts, 43.7% of the Ds, 37.1% of Cs, and you see the Bs and As there. We are in A districts because they have improved to an A, and so they had some deficiency in some category. And then you asked why we're not in all F districts and all F schools. Well, so they do not have to take our services. We provide them, we offer them, but they can decline. So we're in as many as we can possibly be in. So that brings us to the conclusion of our coordinated supports section, and we'll open the floor for any questions.
I have one piece of clarification. So those MOUs, they're not just for CSI. What it is it outlines which items in that, if you will, suite of services we provide. Because some districts get a lipstick, that's it. And then some, I mean, there's some districts that the dollar amounts range from $50,000 to $1.5 million, honestly. So, I mean, it's a huge variation. So it just outlines those different items of the different services that we provide. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that.
Couple of comments. One, thank you for your work. Two, to those I'm trying to read it, to the F schools and D schools that are engaging in your support, thank you, because you're helping your students. To the F schools and D schools who are not engaging in your support, shame on you. And you're going to end up having us, and this is being live streamed, so they're going to see. You're going to end up having us take over. And you will not have a superintendent. Your board won't be there anymore. And let me tell you, I can speak for every board member in here. We do not want to do that. So take advantage of what is being offered to you. If anything, because of your kids. That is the main thing you need to do. If you're resisting this, shame on you. I'm off my soapbox. But I'm going to get back on it on the next one. So anybody else have any questions or comments?
Thank you.
Yes, thank y'all that information and the work you do. Okay, next up, we have another information item that was about delinquent audits and such that is being presented on behalf of a request from the board.
Yeah, I was going to say this, just teeing this up, was on request from the board. What you'll find is some information on some of the most egregious situations, as well as I felt that it was important that we came to you with a plan, because our potential plan that you could think about, dwell on. Obviously, you can come back and act later if you choose, but just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. We don't want to have other issues happen like the one we had to deal with a month ago.
And I appreciate that. And just to tee this up for what y'all are fixing to provide us, the board has asked for this issue to be looked at and addressed by MDE. And it all arises from a phone call that MDE got about a month ago from Okolona School Districts that says we cannot make payroll anymore. That is an atrocious situation. The adults in the room didn't act like adults to properly manage their finances. We don't want those, again, we don't want those calls anymore. You are in charge, you should take this. And one of the key pieces to make sure you are managing your finances is to make sure you get your mandated audits done. So we're exposing, in my opinion, y'all don't share it, that's fine. I'll go out on my own island. But school districts cannot function if they do not have the financial piece. Dr. Evans shared earlier, MDE had to go in Okolona and tell 19 staff members, I'm sorry, you can't work here anymore because we can't afford you. And that's because the folks ahead of them did not take the financial responsibility. Academics is important, but if your finances are not in order, you can't pay the teachers to teach. So, again, I'm on my second soapbox for the day. So with that, y'all go ahead.
Good morning, Chairman Miller, Dr. Evans, and board members. I'll be sitting in for Dr. Vanderford to present this information to you today. We wanted to give you a historical perspective of accreditation standards and their penalties as they relate specifically to the requirement that school districts submit their annual financial audit to the state auditor's office before the March 31 deadline. Up until 2011, accreditation sanctions were imposed after a district failed to meet the deadline for their second consecutive year. However, in 2011, the state auditor's office was experiencing a reduction of staff, which resulted in a major delay in the processing of their audits. Therefore, in 2011, the state board changed the accreditation sanctions to be imposed after 4 consecutive years rather than 2 to prevent school districts from being penalized while the state auditor's office caught up on their reviews. The intent was to change the 4-year timeline back to 2 years once everyone got caught up. However, this did not occur. Then during COVID for the 2021 and 21-22 school years, the Office of Management and Budget, known as OMB, authorized recipients and sub-recipients an extension for up to 3 months, thus moving the deadline to June the 30th for the completion of the submission of their FY20 and 21 audits. When the deadline reverted back to March the 31st for the 22-23 school year, the Office of the State Auditor notified the MDE in February of 2023 of a foreseeable significant increase in the number of districts that would miss the March 31, 2023 deadline for the submission of their FY22 audit reports, due in part to the staff shortages in CPA firms and in part to OMB's return to the regular March 31 timeline. As a result, the state board held districts harmless for process standard 4 violations for the school year 22-23. Any previous violations on record for failure to meet the deadlines established by the Office of the State Auditor continue to apply and accumulate toward the district's cumulative record until they were cleared by the Office of the State Auditor. At the board's request, we have drafted some proposed changes to Appendix H that we believe will help address the board's specific concerns regarding outstanding audits and will help differentiate penalties for audits that may be late versus audits that are outstanding. These proposed changes were provided to you for your review and feedback. But please note that our process requires that we receive formal approval from the Commission on School Accreditation before we can bring them to you for a vote and begin the APA process. So these are only recommendations for your feedback at this point. And before we begin taking any questions, Ms. Kim Wiggins and Ms. Samantha Atkinson are here to share some additional information with you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sam Atkinson. I'm over internal audit, and we are tasked with subrecipient monitoring. We keep very detailed records on a daily basis of what's going on out in the districts. When I started here earlier this year, I noticed that we did have a number of audits that were still not complete. So to begin, I will give you a couple of bullet points. FY22, which was due in March of 23, still has one outstanding audit, Okolona. All the rest have been completed. However, 24 audits that year were more than a year late being completed. FY23, which was due in March of 24, has 19 audits that are still not complete. 2 have been turned in as first drafts to be reviewed by OSA, leaving 17 that have not been turned in yet. We have 26 of that year that were well over 1 year late, not including the 19 I've just mentioned. In FY24, we have 47 audits that are still incomplete more than 8 months after the deadline, and 4 of those districts don't even have a contract yet for the year that is already late. They also will have no contract for the year following that because the more than 1 year late is significant. You cannot start a new audit until you complete the old audit. So it just compounds the problem. I would like to point out that the federal mandate that drives this March 31st deadline also drives the state law 77211 that requires the audits to be done, and also MDE policy. This federal mandate is what causes this. If it didn't exist, we might not have that March 31st deadline. We might not be looking at that. But as a larger problem, the school districts that accept those federal funds, and this is to your point, they have an obligation to complete those annual financial audits so that everybody knows where they stand with their money, including the federal government who is giving that out. And Kim is going to talk about some of the remedies about that, but before I finish, I'm going to say that we have been working with the state auditor's office. They are very willing to help us find ways to alleviate this situation. We know that there are a lot of school districts who are late, and we also know that there's a diminished number of CPA firms working with the school districts. However, what the state auditor's office has done immediately after we met with them was send out to the CPA firms that they are committed to protecting the public trust, and therefore to reduce delinquent audits for school districts effective January of 26. They will no longer allow contracts to be entered with CPA firms who still have outstanding contracts from the year before without special written permission from the state auditor's office. And while it doesn't completely eliminate the problem, it does put the CPA firms on notice that if they have a large number of outstanding audits, then they've got to get their ducks in a row. And so what we then have to do is find ways to help our school districts do what they need to do. So a lot of other topics of discussion with OSA have included things like training, changes in policy, the costs of the audits, because that is another problem with getting some of the larger CPA firms involved. There is a lack of competition there. There's some undercutting costs in some of the smaller firms, so the larger firms aren't getting involved in it. So we have a problem of a shortage. And then they've been looking at more long-term solutions, such as flexibility in the accounting techniques that might be used in the future that would lower the costs and time involved in those audits. And so with that information, I'm going to turn it over to Kim to talk about some of the other remedies.
Before you go on, may I ask?
Of course.
What is the definition of a firm that's going to be considered late?
If it is turned in after, if it is approved after March 31st, then by federal definition, it is late. Now, how
Let me
the,
reword my question. My question is, if you have a CPA firm that has 25 audits and they've done 23 of them consistently and they have 2 that are 3 years late, are they taken off the list?
that would not be up to us, that would be up to OSA, the state auditor's office. And the state auditor has just said that they're not going to allow any future contracting without individual written permission. So if you have my assumption would be, if you have a CPA firm that is generally compliant, but they have 1 or 2 problem areas, they would get some permission from the state auditor to continue their work.
Thank you.
And just to further that, this is not always the auditor's fault in some cases. Some cases it is equally as to blame as cooperation and or quality of information to be audited.
That is correct. Yes, it is correct.
It is, and Mr. East, the goal is not to decrease the number of firms. I will tell you this, though, while there are, what you're describing, firms that are doing their best to get it done, and there's just a couple, life happens, there are also some that 90% of their contracts are 2 and 3 years late. And that's the one. The problem is, though, some of them have the lion's share of the audits.
Yeah.
So that's what they're really trying to address.
Do the school districts choose their auditors?
Yes, ma'am.
It's the school districts.
Yes, ma'am. And they do have to rotate their auditors over every 3 years. They have to choose new auditors. And we've seen a reduction in the total number of auditors available from 24 back in 21. In 2021, there were about 24 firms, and today there are about 18 firms altogether doing the same number of audits.
And that 3-year rotation also causes potentially some of the transition could be
Problematic. Yeah.
But they're choosing from a certified list that MDE gives them, or their personal friends?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. The state auditor's office has a list of auditors who qualify and that they can choose from. They are not necessarily certified. They are, I mean, like, there's nothing special about that list other than that they qualified under the auditor standards. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon. So, in contemplating a remedy to this to this issue, as Ms. Atkinson just shared, every district in this instance is responsible for, or by statute is responsible for, performing a financial audit. In addition to that, 2 CFR 200-501 of the federal regulations requires that any entity expending $750,000 or more of federal funds is required to complete a single audit. In addition to that, MDE, as we provide federal funding to districts, have a requirement under 2 CFR 200-332 to verify compliance with all federal regulations that govern the award of those federal funds. In this particular instance, it would be meeting the requirement for having the single audit. So, as a strategy in addressing this, one of MDE is proposing for the board's consideration, leveraging enforcement tools already available to us under the Code of Federal Regulations. 2 CFR 200-339 requires MDE in this case or gives us the latitude to enforce compliance with all of the federal regulations. And it also gives us strategies under that enforcement language in 2 CFR 339A as a remedy to encourage compliance, if you will, for those districts that are found that are materially failing to meet compliance. In this instance, again, the audits. And so what we are proposing is a policy that that allows for us to, as a last resort, suspend funds for a specific period, and as a last resort to withhold those federal funds. And I'll just walk you through just the framework of what the policy contemplates. So step one of the policy would be MDE would identify what the substantial noncompliance would be. In this instance, it would be a missing audit. And as a result of that identification, we would provide notice to subrecipients or the school districts, and we would give them 15 days to explain why they have not been compliant with the specific requirement. If after the 15 days has expired and we've received a response from the district and it is a sufficient response, then we'll release them from that noncompliance. Of course, not from monitoring because we are federally required to do so. But if we determine after reviewing their response or their justification that it is not a sufficient reason for noncompliance, we move to citing specific conditions. And so we can assess specific conditions to include increased monitoring, increased reporting, increased review of advanced payments from the district. And those specific conditions will remain in place for up to 365 days, so for a year. If after the year, through our continued monitoring and assessment, determined that the remedy still has not been corrected, the noncompliance has not been corrected, we then are able to escalate to a suspension of funds. And what we would do in that instance is, after the 365 days, we would provide again notice to the districts to make them aware that they are in danger of having their federal funds suspended. We'd give them the same notice and period to respond. If the response is not sufficient to justify the noncompliance, we can suspend funds for up to 60 days. After 60 days, if the noncompliance has not been remedied as an act or measure of last resort, we can move toward withholding their federal funds indefinitely. Now, under GEPA, districts will have the ability to have a due process hearing to be heard with regard to whether or not withholding of federal funds is a sufficient response or an appropriate response to their noncompliance. And there are specific guidelines that MDE in this case would have to follow, providing hearing officers and the like. But if it is determined that the decision to withhold, and if it is upheld, then those funds can be withheld indefinitely until such time as the subrecipient or the district comes into full compliance with that specific requirement for which they have not been compliant. Now, this is not a new or punitive action on behalf of the agency. This is enforcement language that is available to us and has been available to us under the CFR 200. And so what we are proposing for your consideration is adjusting or amending our grants management procedures to incorporate this. And it would not just address noncompliance as it relates to audits, but it also codifies our ability to address noncompliance in other areas across all of our programs that provide federal fund allocations to subrecipients. Yes.
You use the term punitive, and all of a sudden I'm going to be painted with the term punitive because I'm thinking that way. For a district that is delinquent in having their finances audited and reported, are the threats for a year that you're going to withhold maybe a year from now going to cause, I mean, somebody that doesn't put that as a priority to their operation, I don't know that another 365 days under threat is going to cause any, that's, you get where I'm going.
Sure. So the CFR requires or allows us to, as I said, to assess specific conditions. However, it does allow for us if there are non-compliance issues that are of an egregious nature, then we do have the ability to escalate earlier. But as we contemplated the development of this particular policy, the 365 days specific to the audit issue, we believe would run concurrent to what accreditation will eventually move to or move back to. It would be 2 consecutive years as opposed to 4 consecutive years before they would be placed on probation, or their accreditation would be placed on probation. And so we believe this policy would run consistent with that. But again, the specific conditions, we could determine them. And one of the specific conditions would be prior approval of advance payments. And so there is some latitude, even within that 365 days, to affect a specific condition that has the kind of impact that would express the urgency of coming into compliance with that specific requirement, whatever it would be.
If federal monies, title monies were withheld from a district, that directly translates into services that students would receive or not receive. Would it be easier just to cut the MHSAA participation than it would be to cut meals or whatever else from?
Actually, the federal code of regulations, Code of Federal Regulations actually allows also a disallowance of costs for all or part of the activity associated with the non-compliance. So if you knew the audit was going to cost $50,000, you could withhold $50,000 in administrative costs to that district, not touching any of the academic benefit and simply focusing on where the problem area is.
There's
So-
different pots of federal,
Right.
the money, federal dollars comes in different forms there. And again, also in the design of this, Mr. Pruitt, to your point, we completely understand that ultimately when you withhold federal dollars, it does have the potential to impact student services. And that's the last thing anybody wants to do. And also, we don't want audit firms to close the doors. But here's what I would tell you. What we're doing, large and in part, isn't working. So we've got to do something, you know what I mean? We got to do something different. And this is an approach to try to do something different, because hopefully, to Ms. Wiggins, to her point with the 365 days of increased monitoring, hopefully that will drive people to speed up. Because when there are districts that are 3 years behind on a financial audit, I'm sorry, the statement of I can't find an auditor to get them to come here, that really doesn't hold any water to me. I mean, you could be in financial ruins within a year.
But then my response back to you is, okay, then put me under observation for another year.
Well, no, that we immediately, if somebody calls and says that, you're going, yeah, trust me, you wouldn't want to use that response, because then we would escalate it to the next
I
level.
like that tone.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to use that
I'm comfortable with
response,
that.
because that automatically gets you populated to this list. So,
Dr. Evans, if I may, Mr. Pruitt, back to part of your question. If a school district's accreditation is withdrawn, it is in, I believe it's state statute, where they automatically cannot participate in certain athletic events like playoffs, et cetera. So if it does escalate to the point of accreditation being withdrawn, that is automatically a sanction.
Yes, I worry, all those penalties though are not the people that are responsible. All those trickle down in some shape, form or fashion to support services, students, teachers, and there's no real clear course how to directly affect superintendents, school boards, and financial officers.
And that's one of the things that when I'm doing presentations to the new school board members, when they ask about the difference in probation and withdrawn, et cetera, that's one of the things that we say is, unfortunately, when it gets to the withdrawal of accreditation, that's really when you get the attention of the community and how bad things are, is when you start taking away the playoffs and the competitions, et cetera. And unfortunately, it's the students that are being penalized for a grown-up problem.
How many CPAs or audit opportunities that we have across the entire state? There's people that do this for a living.
Hundreds. Hundreds of CPA firms or CPAs who do audits of government or quasi-governmental entities.
Are they approved by the OSA?
Yes. There are certain things that they have to do to get on that list with the state auditor's office. And there's certain things that can happen that can get them removed from that list. But that list is not, it's kind of fluid. But just because they're on that list does not mean that they will accept one of the audits. One of the things that we spoke to the auditor's office about is the cost. A lot of school districts have benefited from a lower cost per hour audit, and a lot of the larger firms are not willing to go half rate to do those audits. So until the costs come up, which again, a lot of the federal audit costs are reimbursable by the federal government, until those costs go up, there's not incentive for some of those larger firms to necessarily jump in the situation.
So that's why I see a lot of repeats of these firms, correct?
Yes, sir.
I read somewhere in the last day or two that the state auditor for municipalities with these issues can actually intercept funds directly, state dollars.
Property and sales tax, yes, sir.
And I saw where that is at least come up recently, where that was an enforcement opportunity as well.
Yes.
Which I assume they also could coordinate with us to do the same for other funds, or is it?
Right now, that's not in statute. That would
Okay.
have to be something that would be changed.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I mean, is that true for us? It's not-
But it is. In municipalities can have taxes withheld. The state auditor's office can then contract with a firm to go out and do that audit.
Yeah, and that's basically what I was getting to. Is there a point where they don't do it, that we go get it done?
Not right this minute, but that is one of the things that the state auditor's office has mentioned is, a future long-term solution. But right now, we don't have the authority to do it.
Thank you.
A couple of observations that I want to make very clear to everybody watching in the districts. Number one, the MDE is not your enemy on this. They are your friend. The MDE didn't bring this information to us today. We asked them to do this. This is a board directive. Why? Like I said earlier, we are not in the business of taking over school districts. We do not want to do this. Number two, this is as has been identified, this is a multi-level problem.
Yep.
There needs to be more auditors involved, accounting firms to do this. But primarily with school districts who are behind, you need to make this a priority. The last thing we do not want to be in your business. If you get your audits done, we want local decisions to remain local. Don't force our hand with this. But by the same token, we do not want any Okolona phone calls anymore that says, hey, we can't make payroll at the end of the month. And the fastest way to do that is if you go 3 years without an audit. Because that's what happened there, and they're broke. And that's the other thing too is, with Okolona, there's a $3 million fund that I believe is available for takeovers. We had to use $1.5 million of it for Okolona. If school districts keep doing this, there's not going to be any.
There was only a total of 4.2 in it to start with.
That's my point is, the resources that we have available for this are limited. So 2 more phone calls like Okolona, by the time we answer the second one, there's not going to be any money for you.
So what happens then?
My best guess, and this is a guess, but we're going to see a school district going into bankruptcy, which creates a whole new level of problems that I don't think anybody can comprehend, because that hadn't happened before. The bottom line is please handle your business. Make your audits a priority with the districts, and understand MDE people are here to help you with this, not hurt. They're your friend. This is not an MDE issue. This is a board issue, because we do not want these problems anymore.
But it does affect MDE, because don't we also have this audit funding? And
Yes,
the
we do.
things that MDE has been criticized for is part of this. The problem is not our problem, yet we're responsible for it.
No,
That is correct.
and that's, exactly what Ms. Wiggin is talking about. And look, all the things that she's talking about, they already exist. It's just, look, if you're not going to take care of your business, we're going to exercise the tools that we have available or so at our disposal to gently guide you to fix your problems, if not mandate that you do it. So,
What is the liability to the local district school board members of this?
well, I'm going to give you the law school answer, and that depends. And the reason I give, and I don't do that to skirt the question, is because every situation is different.
Right.
But there could be, I mean, if there is financial mismanagement, that's why they're bonded.
Yeah. But there is an issue there
There
down
could,
there.
there could be, with the superintendent as well as both board members. So again, don't get yourself, if you're in this situation, get out of it. Prioritize your audits. Get these done. So these ladies do not have to come back up here with trying to come up with solutions to force this issue. And our whole purpose with this as a board to do this is to, right now we're at an information stage. These are things that we could do. We don't want to do these things. But if you go 3 or 4 years without an audit, you're not going to leave us a choice. Anybody else have anything, questions or anything on this? Ladies, thank you very much. That was exactly what we had asked for, and I appreciate that information. No.
I didn't do it on purpose.
No.
Overtime rate is kicked in, the overtime rate is kicked in for y'all.
All right, our next information item is a presentation on an AI pilot program. Mr. Cramen.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Miller, Dr. Evans, and the board. Obviously, there was a lively discussion last month about AI, and Dr. Evans asked us to come and spend about 45 minutes or so talking with you about artificial intelligence.
Well played.
So I think we've trimmed it down, but we'll see how fast we can go. Actually, in all seriousness, Dr. Evans approached us last winter and asked us to design a way for this agency to begin to help the schools with the opportunities/challenges of artificial intelligence. Melissa Banks and I spent some time doing a little bit of preliminary design work, but in earnest, we started meeting with our program office partners in Wendy Clemens' office and John Farrell's office in January of this year. And I'm going to turn over to Melissa to tell you all where we are at the end of the year. So.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to tell you just a high-level overview about what we're doing in our AI for Instruction pilot. This does help support goal number 3, making sure that every school has effective teachers and leaders. So what exactly was our plan with this pilot? Our goal was to implement a program where teachers use a generative AI tool to help them as they plan and customize instruction in their classrooms. Notice that I did say teachers. We are not focusing on student use of AI tools at this time, but we are looking at how teachers can utilize it in their instructional practices. Also, while our pilot is using Google's Gemini and NotebookLM as that generative AI tool that teachers have to use, we're not so much focused on those individual tools as we are looking at what supports are necessary for a school to have in order for a teacher to successfully implement any AI tool, and then what are the impacts that that AI tool can have in that instructional planning process. At the end of our pilot, we hope to take all of the things that we've learned and create a roadmap that other districts and schools can use to adopt their own AI tool for teacher use, whatever that tool may be. And then also a toolkit that the district and school leaders can use to try to effectively judge the implementation of that AI tool and any impact that it may have had. Specifically, when we're looking at the impact, what exactly is happening with that AI tool and how are the teachers using it? We're looking at lesson plan efficiency. So is the AI tool helping to decrease the amount of time a teacher is spending planning lessons? And how that can happen is, how can the AI tool help the teacher maybe synthesize all of those classroom resources that they have at their disposal? How can they brainstorm new learning activities for their students, even create new content for their students? So what's the impact there? Also, that idea of personalizing and customizing the instruction. How can that generative AI tool help create additional scaffolds for students who may be struggling, implement those accommodations that students need, and then also tailoring content so that it meets the interests and the needs of all the students in the classroom. Along with that comes, how can we support teachers in their ability to be able to evaluate the output that comes out of those generative AI platforms, because we want to make sure that what they are implementing in their classrooms is aligned to standards and it meets the rigor and the appropriateness of the grade level that they're teaching. And then last but not least, do the teachers feel like students are more engaged from what they're creating with that AI tool? So that's what we're looking to kind of measure throughout the pilot. We definitely could not have done this alone. We have a variety of stakeholders who have been helping us both externally and internally. We have an advisory panel that we brought together with external stakeholders to help us through the planning process. So we have Betsy Smith from Mississippi State University Research and Curriculum Unit. Also from Mississippi State, Shelley Hollis in the Center for Cyber Education. Representing our teacher preparation perspectives, Dean Rock from the University of Mississippi School of Education, and then Colin Napier from Maine, that's the Mississippi Artificial Intelligence Network, and he is one of the leaders also on the legislative side of their AI task force as well. So they helped us, as I mentioned, plan the pilot, come up with the goals for the pilot, what the impact should be, all of those different considerations. We also partnered with a Google professional development provider, Fried Technology. We partnered with them formerly through our Mississippi Connects and EDLA initiative to provide digital learning training in our state, and so we are partnering with them again. Their role is to be the technology expert. They are providing technical training to our pilot participants, both in AI literacy and then also in the use of Google's Gemini and Notebook LM. And we could not do this without internal support here within the agency. We have an amazing team of curriculum experts here in the agency, so we have partnered with the Office of Curriculum and Instruction and Career and Technical Education to provide those subject matter experts for the participants. We have Dr. Kevin Gaylor, who's supporting our 4th grade science teachers who are participating in the pilot, Mandy Hackman, our middle school ELA, Alan Wheat with U.S. history teachers who are participating in the pilot, and then Maggie Hardiman, Josh Sanford, and Maisha Wallace from the Office of Career and Technical Education who are supporting our CTE teachers. Their role is centered around building the capacity of these teachers to be able to evaluate the output from the AI. So how can we make sure, again, that it's aligned to standards, that we're not just taking immediately what comes out and running with it, but that we are making sure that it is sound as far as rigor and alignment to our standards. And then we wouldn't have the pilot without the teachers. So we have 15 districts who are participating in the pilot. You can see the map up here. They're pretty spread out across the state. From those 15 districts that were selected through an application process, we are supporting 43 teachers, and they had to have an administrator who was also supporting them as well. So it also includes 14 administrators. As I mentioned, they're coming from 4 different content areas: science, ELA, U.S. history, and career and technical education. What is exactly our timeline? We opened up pilot applications in September of this year. We selected those districts that you saw on the previous slide. We all came together in early November for a 3-day in-person training. We had all of our teachers and administrators there. We had staff from Fried Technology who provided that technical training I mentioned, both on AI literacy and on how to use the tools themselves. And then we had our amazing content experts who were there to lead that evaluation process, making sure that everything was aligned to the standards that they were working with. We had amazing feedback from the teachers. They were all very excited. There was a lot of excitement in the room, a lot of smiles. We had everything from new teachers to experienced teachers in the room. Some of the feedback that we got, one of the teachers said, "I feel like there are now no limits on what I can do with my students, just from this tool that we helped provide to them and helped them understand how to use and how it can best benefit their students." But we know that one and done training is not enough. You've heard a lot about the coaching support and ongoing support that we provide here at the department, and this is no different. So for the remainder of the pilot, the remainder of the school year, December through May, we have virtual monthly check-ins with our pilot participants. Those are divided into the individual content areas. So for example, the ELA teachers meet together virtually once a month. They meet with that tech expert from Fried Technology. They meet with their content area lead as well. And they're there to build a network of support, to continue to learn and grow together, to share challenges, to share ideas, to celebrate together, and continue on with the lessons learned throughout the remainder of the school year. And then it's our job to take all of this information that we've learned through surveys, through these webinars that we're doing, the sharing of teacher artifacts, all of these things, and create those guidance documents that are going to be hopefully really beneficial to other schools and districts who want to implement something similar with their teachers. That was really fast. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Fascinating. There's a lot of work. You guys have done well.
Has it been well received?
It has been. The teachers are very excited. As I mentioned, we had a variety of new teachers and veteran teachers. Some of the veteran teachers started out very hesitant, but they were all bought in. They were all in by the end of it as well. And so, so far, some really good feedback. And actually, our CTE session we had last week, our virtual check-in, that team of teachers there is amazing. They're at the Oxford CTE Center. And one of the teachers was talking about he tried a podcast with one class, it didn't work, it was a total flop. He tried it with the next class and they loved it. So, you know, just it's a great way for teachers to be able to try a lot of new ideas, and it's really cutting down on the time that it would take for them to be able to create all of those very different resources to meet the needs of the students in their classrooms.
And if I could just add to that real quick, that next summer we anticipate that the teachers coming out of this pilot will become evangelists for this work. And anybody who's worked on any project that Melissa Banks has been involved in, the enthusiasm and quality coming out the other end is going to be quite high. So I have every confidence this will be.
We're also trying to find some ways to fund the continuation of the work. So that's a goal. That is one of the, is up on the list. So.
I would think that with all the, I use the word fear in the world of IA, that we work very hard to explain what we're doing to the public and why we're doing it and how we're doing it and why it's important, and selling them on why this is something we can't just ignore.
Yeah, I think harnessing these tools in a responsible and productive way is the goal here. And AI is just a tool. The instruction really at the end of the day is the interaction between a teacher and a student, and we want to help facilitate and strengthen that, just as the coaching model we heard about earlier today is committed to.
I would venture to guess that at the end of your pilot program, you're not going to have any detractors. Because everybody's going to realize that AI makes your life easier if you use it responsibly in the correct way. Because the biggest challenge with you is no different than the legal industry, the banking industry, or what, is embracing the unknown of the brave new world of AI. You're going to have to go in and understand, and you're going to have your doubts, but if you will suck it up and learn it, it will be a great resource. What you're saying on a broader scale, and what I've heard from teachers just anecdotally, like Wendy was sharing with us how she utilizes it, it is a game changer. And I think that to me, the easiest selling point is if you learn how to use it and what it can do, it will make your life easier. So,
Yeah, I think its biggest limitation today is what we are willing to engage with it with, and what we think it can do, because it can do well beyond what we've contemplated it can be useful for.
Yes, sir.
so
Thank y'all.
yes, thank you for y'all kicking this off and starting it and trying to get ahead of it. It's really hard to get ahead of because tomorrow's going to be
It's
different
changing
than
daily.
today. So, but
Part of the fun, thank you.
okay, our next item, we have one contract. Ms. Wiggins.
Yes, I have one contract to bring before you today. It is a contract with Toshiba America Business Solutions to provide copiers for our agency. The contract is a 5-year contract at a total cost of $1 million, a little over $1 million.
Anybody have any questions of Ms. Wiggins about this contract? Do I have a motion to approve this contract?
So moved.
Mr. Mayo, Dr. Barrett on the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me make sure, please correct me if I don't get it right, because I want to make sure the minutes are right. So now, item 7 on our agenda will be the new item 7 will be what was formerly 7K that was on the consent agenda. It is now on our regular agenda with regards to the updated internal audit chart. So.
You want me just to, I'll tee it up and I'll tell you
Yes.
exactly what the point
Can I
is.
make a
Let me go.
suggestion?
Summer, okay.
Can I make a suggestion first?
Sure.
The hour's late. We've been here a long time. This board's been here 6 hours yesterday, 4 hours. This is not an issue, in my view, that has to be done today. It's one we need to discuss. And this really is a 45-minute issue to discuss, to do it properly. My suggestion is we table this until our next meeting in January and go from there.
Conceptually, I don't have, does that impede our progress? Because the whole purpose of this thing is to move that whole thing forward, and I don't know the answer because I hadn't been in the weed. Does that slow things down for another month? I can't
No,
answer.
I would think that Sam and them can be moving forward in what they are planning to do and operating under, because this really doesn't change their daily work.
Okay.
This deals more with structure, role, subcommittee, and questions of independence. But I think we could operate as they are moving forward and bring this back to next meeting.
I think with no doubt they can, because
Yeah.
the argument here, really, they've been doing for 11 years this way, so why can't they do it another couple of months?
Okay, so let me see if I can, I believe the proposal would be to table this item for this meeting and then place this item on the regular agenda for the January meeting.
We wouldn't do that until we got to the item at the conclusion of the consent agenda, because it's been pulled from the consent agenda. It's now a separate line item. We'll make a motion to table it when we get there, right?
We're there.
We moved it. It went up to agenda before the.
Oh, it went up, not
Well, it's
down.
already off, yes.
Got it, got it,
It's
got it.
ahead before I get to
Now,
it.
if you table
need a
it,
motion to table.
next meeting, you have to take it
Off the table.
Okay,
It's not automatically on me.
I'll second Bill's motion to table it.
okay. And with the idea that we are going to bring it back up for discussion on the
January.
general agenda in
Yeah.
January.
And can I add that Matt sent out an email yesterday to everybody, yesterday morning, and I know we've all been busy, but that has a lot of what is going to be discussed on it, and it'll allow y'all to read it over the holidays, and, because I know you'll be bored, and then there are questions there I'm happy to answer, and Matt's happy to answer.
Absolutely.
Okay, so based on what was just said, Bill has made a motion, you have seconded, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Great, okay. Now, okay, our consent agenda is now item 8.
I think
For those keeping score at home. And item 8I is a particular item concerning the approval to purchase a bus for the Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science. And I believe Mr. Mayo has advised me he has to recuse himself on this item. So for that purposes, we will ask you to step out of the room while we consider that.
Certainly.
They're probably financing it. They're probably financing it.
No, which one are you talking
School bus.
about? School bus, right?
I'm sure they're financing it. I'm sure they're probably providing financing.
I know. Okay, so for the consent agenda, do I have a motion to specifically approve item 8I concerning that purchase of the bus?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Warner, do I have a second? Second. Dr. McGee, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, if you would ask. All right.
It's on.
Listen to the whole time.
Just can't participate.
Right. Okay, now, for the consent agenda items, which is now number 8, A through H, J, L, M, and N, do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mayo, Dr. Barrett on the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have no executive session. All right, does anybody have any reports of meetings they attended they would like to share?
No, but I'd like to make, may I make a request of all the school people who are still here? I was at a hospital board meeting yesterday, and one of the major concerns that they're having now is smoking among teenagers and little kids. They were talking about kids as far as vaping, smoking, and all of the long-term problems that it's causing. So I said I would bring it up at this board today. And I don't know what we can do about it, but I certainly want people to be aware of the fact that it's really harming our youth.
I'm going to count that as just your general statement in other business that I was going to get to.
Oh, yes, that is other business.
I'm trying to be polite, that I don't want to say objection unresponsive, but, so I presume no one has any reports of meetings they attended. Okay, does anybody need approval to attend any meetings? Okay, then Ms. Warner, your
Oh, I have
comments.
other business. It's about smoking.
It will be reflected in the minutes under other business. All right, the January board meeting will be held on January 16th, 2026 in Jackson in this boardroom starting at 10 a.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Ms. Stroud and Mr. Jacobs on the second. All in favor? Any opposed? Thanks to everybody. This was a very lengthy meeting.